Now, where was I up to in Fisk? Wait, I can set up a free ABC account. Charlie, Pickering. Too easy. So from July, we'll need to log in to stream shows on ABC iView. It's easy to set up, and we'll be able to pick up watching where we left off, even if we switch from smart TV to mobile. Good for watching Bluey on lunch breaks.
For more information about your free ABC account, head to abc.net.au/ABC account.
ABC Sport. AFL.
Gets set for the deafening roar. The pent-up emotion is about to flow.
Listen to the crowd roar.
AFL.
Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Grandstand AFL.
We've got a game on our hands here. This is really good, fierce stuff.
This is a fantastic game of football.
Someone told me there was something wrong with our game. I can't see it today. Actually, it's a spectacular contest.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Oh, the impossible angle.
Sinners, keep on sinning.
Don't go anywhere. The theatre of it all.
Winners, keep on winning.
And he dribbles one through and blows a kiss to the crowd.
Just a new day beginning.
Breaks the paint, has a shot, makes no mistake.
Sends it for home. A sublime strike.
Hard against the boundary. That's a classy finish.
That is sensational.
Can he slide it through for the finish? Yes, he can.
Wide angle on the paint of 50. May have just snuffed through an incredible goal. Tries to fend off. Got him. Takes him to ground. Back to that Nui. Second, don't argue.
Go to your best players. Go to your match winners.
Plays on Mo down from behind. Holding the ball.
Perfect tackle.
It might be a game saver.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Ricochets to Martin. You know the rest. The razzle-dazzle has arrived.
That is spectacular.
It's a new day, new day, new day beginning.
Osborne kicks the goal. Welcome to the big time.
Oh, great mark.
Outside of the boot, Eddie. Oh, he has kicked it. Makes no mistake. Goes back.
Straightens up towards goal and brings it back superbly. Here's that familiar roar. Double fist salute to the crowd. They might have a new fan favourite. He'll snap. He'll go. A ripper from Gripper. Snaps on the single step and bangs it through.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Dribbles it through and ends the game.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Up in Cairns at Kazali Stadium for the second leg of a doubleheader Saturday round 13 of the AFL Premiership season. The Saints at 5 and 7, Adelaide at 4 and 8. There's a 2-game break between the top 8 and the bottom 10, so it's time to close the gap for the Saints and Crows to try and stay in touch with finals contention. A big game for both teams tonight before heading to the bye in round 14. Corbin Middlemass in commentary alongside Alistair Nicholson. The Adelaide Crows have just made their way out onto the ground, and here come the Saints, or whatever's left of them. They have very few players available for selection this week outside of the 3 emergencies. Just a young first-year tall in Matt Ellison, Sam Alabaskis, who's a Category B rookie, and Cooper Sharman are the only other 3 players available for selection for St Kilda that haven't been named in their 26 for tonight's game. There's no late change for either team. Lockie Scholl, the sub for the Crows, and for St Kilda, it's Jack Bytel. Good evening, Al.
Good evening, Corby. It's been a difficult season for St Kilda, hasn't it? When a fair bit was expected of the Saints coming into the year on the back of winning a final last year, it hasn't gone according to plan. You look at their percentage, it's in the 70s. It doesn't reflect a side that's capable of making finals. Yet, as you say, if they win tonight, they're only a game outside the finals with West Coast, or outside the top 8 with West Coast and Richmond to play tomorrow night. They're depleted. They don't have a stack of very good players available to them at the moment, but they have the opportunity, and Brett Ratton, I think, would be pushing the message that we're undermanned, we're on the road, we're up against it, but let's try and do something. Let's get this season going. And as we saw with Hawthorn last night, the way they galvanised and reset and looked each other in the eye, had some tough conversations, a bit of boxing went on as well.
Yes.
It is capable to turn things around, so hopefully we get a strong performance from the Saints tonight. I've been impressed with Adelaide, what they've done. They're an emerging side. They've started well, had a few losses of late. That great win over Melbourne, let's see what they can produce. And they're missing some players as well, so neither team at its best tonight.
13 unavailable for the Saints, so you could add Ross and Membry to that list, who are both out on dad duties back in Melbourne. Jaron Geary out with that dislocated shoulder. Brad Crouch, who had 38 last week in the loss to Sydney, he's up against his old team for the first time. Josh Worrell's going to make his debut, a 20-year-old swingman who becomes the 6th debutant for Adelaide this year. And the other one is Riley O'Brien, who celebrates a milestone in game 50. Brendan Goddard's back with us on Grandstand AFL. A nice little trip up to Noosa Beach. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's been a while. 3 weeks, is it?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I missed a couple off my own bat, and then, had a bit of a freshen up, extended the stay up in Noosa. So good timing, you'd say. Timing's everything in life, isn't it? So
absolutely.
They were all refreshed and back to reality this week with the kids and down in lockdown. But and then back in the boardroom here. So it feels kind of weird. But, looking forward to it. It's funny to think that if Adelaide win tonight, they actually go above St Kilda on the ladder. So who would have thought that would be the case after round 13 in this season, coming off the back end of last year and what St Kilda did. So extraordinary where they're at, and you've just pointed out the struggles they're having with selection. And to be completely honest, the 3 names you reeled off, I had no idea. And I have no idea what they look like, besides you saying one of them's a tall. So the 3 guys that I won't recognise tonight, it's those 3 you mentioned. So interesting. So arguably a big game, but and now you mentioned that it's still St Kilda. If they do win, they're just hovering still outside the top 8. So it's a funny old season. But St Kilda's, as I'm alluding to, is the big shock, and they lose tonight against Adelaide. It'll be kind of go from bad to worse, really.
This is just the 13th game to be played in Cairns at Kazali Stadium, so we're not physically there, but we're keen to hear from you throughout the night. 0437 774 774. But one man who knows all about this venue, he's played there 3 times, averages 30 disposals a game at Kazali Stadium up in Cairns. His name is Brett Delidio, and he's back with us on Grandstand.
You have the glove on up there? You wore the glove.
Yeah. Well, it looked better than it probably helped me, Beach. You know what it's like, but I'm not all about the numbers, Beach. It's all more about the damage with those 30. A couple of good performances individually, Corbs, but
have you got? What's
I think I got
winning
one. I think I
record?
1 and 2. I think I was up there. Devastating one. Carmichael Hunt kicks one after the bell, which that was an angry day after that one. There's more than pretzels being thrown around the in the sheds after that, but. Yeah, I remember that game we did, Geelong v St Kilda, and they kick straight. They're well and truly in that game, probably win that game.
Yeah.
Since then, they've almost gone, and their backside's almost fallen out of them, haven't they, really, in terms of their season after that, when the confidence has just been shot. A really big loss to the Dogs. It just surprised me. I thought they were the next team that was really pushing towards being hitting the 8 this year, but disappointing, really, hasn't it? And injuries haven't helped, obviously, and sad to see Dan Hanbury's got the calf curse. He cannot get himself on the park. But
just the calf. There's a hammy. There's a calf. There's a
lot of recurring issues, unfortunately, with his soft tissue. But look, I don't know what to think about the Saints. I feel for the boys that are involved there, because I've been there before, where I know what it's like when you're trying to do everything right. It's just the wheel's not turning. But unfortunately, it's lose this one, as Beach just alluded to. It's probably curtains, isn't it?
7 minutes away from the bounce. Grandstand AFL. Corbin Middlemass, Al Nicholson, Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard. 0437 774 774, the SMS number. Lidge, just quickly on the ground itself. So 22 degrees and cloudy in Cairns, 87% humidity. Any particular sort of things to look out for, or notes from the venue on your experiences there?
The wind would always howl as you're looking at the ground from the screen, right to left, and I think we started the game kicking like 8-7 in the first quarter, but that was backed up by like 6-9 from the Suns. It was just one scoring end to the left of screen, but then late in the night it just got really dewy, and the grass is actually quite thick, and you really get tired and cramp quite a bit late in the day, especially the far side of the wing. But I haven't delved into too much, Corbs.
I love Corby calling from that ground a couple of times. some of the ingenuity around vantage points. So over on the hillside of the ground, there are a few sort of terrace houses on that side of the ground, weatherboard homes, and one of the games we did up there, someone had got a mattress out and put it on the roof of the house and was lying on the mattress watching the footy. So that's one of the charms of these grounds, that are sort of in suburban areas.
So I think you said the scoring end's where the Leagues Club is, which is Cazaly's, essentially why the ground's named after Roy Cazaly, of course, the St Kilda and South Melbourne champ. But that always, there seems to be a bit more atmosphere at that end as well, with people standing outside the front of the Leagues Club. A number of different teams have played home games there. So Richmond, the Western Bulldogs and Gold Coast have all played matches. And with the exception of 2019, it's staged at least a game going right back a decade now, with obviously the most famous or infamous of them, Carmichael Hunt, who kicked that winner in 2012 after the bell. And that story, Al, coming full circle tonight with
Incredible.
Carmichael back in the NRL, playing in the halves tonight for the Broncos.
Yeah, we'll keep across that. I'll be really interested to see his build tonight. Remember how much Carmichael Hunt had to physically build up to play, trim down to play AFL football from the build he had as a rugby league player, and his running capacity had to improve so significantly. I wonder whether he's beefed up a fair bit again. He's obviously played some rugby union as well in the interim, but yeah, that's an interesting story, isn't it? To go full circle from a player who the AFL wanted to bring across for appeal and try and build the promotion around the Gold Coast Suns, and then that probably didn't work out, and there were other things that occurred as well of a disappointing nature. Now he's back playing rugby league where it all started again.
As a mid to late 30s, how old is Carmichael?
He'd be well into his 30s
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
What role is he going to play? Is he a full-back?
No,
or is he?
He's in the halves, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay, right.
So still a key playmaker.
Yep.
Which sort of also
concerning?
suggests where the Broncos are at the moment. They're battling.
Broncos are terrible, aren't they?
He's 34, turns 35 later in the year. Carmichael Hunt in action tonight for the Bronx. The full game preview, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio. We're 4 or 5 minutes away from the bounce. The Saints and the Crows. St Kilda having won just one of their last 4. They'd only win a 20-point victory over North, and Lids, we were there for that. That wasn't overly convincing, whilst Adelaide have won just one of their last 8, and that win came against Melbourne. They're the only team to have beaten the D's this year by a solitary point. They were a little disappointing to leave the points behind last week against the Pies. What are we in for tonight, gents?
Yeah, well, Adelaide's been gallant defeat, really. They've actually been performing reasonably well without getting...
They give effort, don't they?
Yeah, and it's predictable what you're going to get. So they lack a bit of class, depth, but you can be assured that when you go to watch them or you play against them, they're going to have a crack. So what's concerning for St Kilda about tonight too, if it doesn't go their way, that the next 4 after the bye is Richmond, Pies, and we know how dangerous the teams is, coming off a sacked coach and Buckley and the situations there, and there'll be a bit of freedom and halves takes over and all that kind of thing. So that's even a danger game. And then they're Brisbane and Port Adelaide. So it doesn't get any easier. So I think for tonight, it's obviously a hard pill to swallow for St Kilda and St Kilda fans off the back end of last week. It's a Sydney game, the opportunities they had, and Higgins obviously was the main target in that. But they gave themselves a chance, so they took a step forward. And what was evident last week, Lids, is particularly from maybe the end of that first quarter, second quarter, is the way they were actually playing footy, and that we talked about the front half game and the pressure around. It's almost the St Kilda of 2020, the pressure around the ball and the intensity, their ability to keep the ball in the front half and then have repeat opportunities at scoring. So it did look different. So, for mine, I think they had been working on that. They've identified that. So hopefully they can get a bit more consistency with that tonight and get the 4 points.
What I'm hoping is that Max King gets up the ground a little bit. Obviously, Tim Membry's out of the team. Get up the ground and get on your bike. Start hitting the wings and really just try and free him up a little bit.
What's one of his biggest attributes is a 205 centimetre bloke, his athleticism.
Exactly. So let him roam a little bit and get up and get his confidence up. Just take a few marks up around the wings, whatever it is, and then burn back towards goal.
Richo to sit him on the wing for a while.
Well, exactly right. And Richo would play on the wing, but still kick 30 goals for the year. Purely through work rate. But he's, as a forward, he just understood it. So that's an interesting one to see how he goes.
Mind you, they don't have much else up there with Memory missing, do they? So
that's the thing. So he has to fill that role of hitting up, and that's what Memory. He's probably one bloke who could hold his head high in terms of that forward line. Constantly giving effort. With the games that we've done, Corbs, you can see that he's actually working to try and get involved. But there's other guys. They can get their small forwards involved in Butler and Higgins if he straightens himself up this week. they just need opportunity, and if the ball's coming in and they can create some pressure and keep the ball in that front half, they're every chance. But I like what Adelaide's doing, as Beach alluded to. I think that what they bring week in, week out, effort and intensity around the footy, they're the team for mine tonight that should get the job done.
Max King really hasn't bounced back and really hasn't had many looks at it since the disastrous night against the Saints where he went 1-5. Higgins coming off 1-6 last week. Are you trying to feed him early and get him involved?
I think if he gets that first shot, and hopefully it's from 10 metres out, but that's when you get your confidence right up and you're like, yeah, everything's going well. But look, to me, I think if he gets the ball in his hands, confidence is up, and he only has to get it spinning right. I think be like, yep, they're coming off nice tonight. And, if things can change for you really, really quickly, but you don't want to be into the second before you've actually touched it.
St Kilda home game, so they're in their traditional strip with the black shorts, and Adelaide in one of their alternate jumpers, predominantly yellow, still with the navy and red hoops. We're ready to go. Saturday night footy in round 13 on Grandstand AFL. You're with Al Nicholson.
So Ryder wins the first tap, but it's pinched by his opposite ruckman in O'Brien, who kicks to half forward. McHenry couldn't take it. Keys soccers forward. McAdam knocked off it. Cleaned up in defence. Highmore, a high ball out of defence for St Kilda to the back flank outer side of the ground. Great mark back with a flight, not paid. McKay got a very good piece of that. I thought he'd held on to it. The ball has finished up underneath him as he's tackled. It'll be a ball up left half forward for the Crows, who are going to the Leagues Club end of the ground, the Kazale's end of the ground. Free kick in the ruck contest. It's going Adelaide's way to O'Brien in his milestone match for the Crows. He kicks inside the 50 to the forward pocket. There's a one-on-one there, and that one-on-one is won convincingly by Highmore of St Kilda.
So 4 changes for the Saints from the team that lost to Sydney narrowly. Long, Loney, Hunter and Bytel before they come in. Highmore shakes the kick, rolls to Sinclair along the ground, mops it up for the Saints, hands it back to Wilkie, high up and under down the outer wing. Ryder just palms it down in front. Clever work Steele, soccers it through to the advantage of Butler, gives it to Crouch. His hand pass out wide, misses Steele, and over the boundary line it goes, so we'll have a throw-in. The Crows in this opening term kicking to the club end of the ground, which is where the Leagues Club is, and then the city end of the ground where the Saints are going, winning the toss and choosing towards that end of the ground. 2 ends for the Crows. Worrell making his debut, and Berry's back from concussion.
O'Brien the tap down, the all-important Robo Billings took it. He was taken high, no free kick. Sinclair's kick into bodies, ricochets to Hill on defensive 50. He's unsure, throws it on the boot, used it well. And the mark is taken by Butler, defensive side of the outer wing. He feeds the hand pass. Crouch going by, kicks towards half forward, turned it over. Crows off the half-back flank. Smith's kick turned it over. Kicked it straight to King. King 70 from goal. Right half forward. Kicks the Saints inside the 50. Bouncing ball at the back. Battle gathers. Feeds the hand pass back. From the pocket. Left foot snap. It's a goal to the Saints. The opener kick by Mason Wood. Hamstring was a problem for him last week. He's come up 2 cans and had an immediate impact with the opening goal. The Saints won straight. The Crows yet to score. 18 minutes remaining in this first term. We've played 2 minutes of the first quarter.
Well, if you're looking for your confidence to get up, that's the one you want, isn't it, from for Big Maxi King, laced out at centre half forward. Get him nice easy touch early, get it going inside forward 50. And just a nice finish from Mason Wood. It was interesting play from Brodie Smith. He's usually renowned for his ability to hit his targets and find something, but he has laced him out right at top of 50 there.
Well, I'm not sure if King actually meant to kick it to Battle, but it turned out all right. But that was the first bit in the first 2 minutes where we actually saw a string of possessions, kick mark. They were able to get a quick play on from Crouch, which created a bit of that overlap. He butchered as well, but it's the first time in 2 minutes where they're able to connect with the footy.
Ryder wins the tap back in the middle for the Saints, follows up, he's tackled, dispossessed, and Steele just soccers it 30 metres further afield. Out to meet it, Smith again for the Crows, bowled off it, Wood had it, lost it, hands it straight back, and O'Brien ends up with it for the Crows. Links up with Keys, now the run comes through Hamill as he kicks down that outer wing, down to half forward. Philthorpe flying through, hands on the footy, spills to Rowe, he's tackled, got a hand pass out, not legally, said the umpire, it's holding the ball.
Put it on the ground.
And so Rowe's going to be penalised. You heard the explanation, just put it straight on the ground. And a free kick going the way of Highmore, the tackler awarded for the Saints. His kick is not good as he turns it over. And again, the intercept mark taken in the middle of the ground. Not a great kick by Seedsman out towards half forward, but Hill's there at half back for the Saints to chop it off. Links up with Sinclair, spears his kick to Higgins, spills the mark, and off his chest ends up out of play in front of the benches. So St Kilda with the first goal through Mason Wood. He kicked the first last week for what it's worth against the Swans. St Kilda won straight, Adelaide yet to score 4 minutes in.
His day was over not too long after Mason Wood last week. So the medical sub with the hamstring injury and subbed out of the game due to that medical issue and able to play here. O'Brien's tap was good for McHenry. He couldn't take it with him though, and Hill has it on the left half-back flank for St Kilda. Kicks to the wing, good use of the body, but no mark to Wood. He does run onto it and gallops away along the wing. Kicks St Kilda to half-forward. King worked his way to the front and marks on his chest. Great use of the body. He's 50 from goal. He's about 5 metres in from the boundary on the broadcast side of Kazali Stadium.
I thought Mason Wood had missed a trick there by going over top of Paddy Wright, who provided a pretty good lead, but sure enough, he's found the chest of Maxi King. Go back, it's a free hit from out here. You just lay back into it and see whether you can get it through.
More than likely to kick it then, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon.
Can he get some confidence going early? He sits it up across the face of goal. A fly at the back of the pack from Billings, off hands over the boundary line. A throw in next to the right behind post. St Kilda with the opening goal. We've played 5 minutes. The Crows yet to score.
So deep forward again for the Saints. Shallow throw-in. Ryder hooks it down behind, but straight to McKay. The Crows links up with Laird. Fumbles the greasy footy. Just gets a kick out of defensive 50. Hill chops it off. Hands it to Sinclair. Hooks the kick to centre half forward. No mark for the Saints. Battle had his head over it. Sloan knocks it out in the other direction. Keys goes in. Tackles Billings. Still hasn't come out cleanly. Eventually does backdoor to Sinclair. Hand pass to Hill. High half forward. Kicks it across the half forward line. Leaping up Loney. Can't complete the mark. Battle slips over, went without it, and Kelly gives it away to Seedsman for the Crows. He goes back by hand, hurried kick out of the defensive arc, only ends up with Loney on the wing. He's going to be tackled. He's tackled in the back, and a free kick for Loney. Just forward of the wing for the Saints. They're one straight. Adelaide yet to score after 6 minutes.
Been a fairly criticised player this year, Hill, but he's made a bright start as Battle takes possession on the half-forward flank. He's tackled, he's caught. Seedsman wins holding the ball for the Crows. He's at right half-back. Paul Seedsman. Another feature at Kazali Stadium is some of the old seats, the coloured seats, the maroon and green and yellow seats from the Gabba made their way up to Kazali's on the broadcast side. They're in the grandstand. Ball kicked to the wing. Walker had it, lost it. Spills back into the mess. Crouch with a strong tackle on Keys. Umpire calls for a ball up. Centre wing, broadcast side of the ground. St Kilda won straight. Adelaide yet to score on Grandstand AFL at the 7-minute mark.
11 games, Brad Crouch, into his life as a Saint after his first 95 was spent playing with Adelaide. There's going to be a free kick here from the restart, and Keys has held without it, so he's going to get it here. Commentary wing in front of the main grandstand. And you look inside the forward 50 to the Leeds club end, out to meet it. O'Brien, but chopped off. Highmore back in the hole, takes the intercept mark. He's had a nice start. Tom Highmore, their second pick in last year's national draft. He goes wide to Ben Long. One of the 3 inclusions for the Saints. A long kick down the outer wing, and Wood takes the mark on his chest. Right on halfway, the first goal kicker. He rolls around, kicks to half forward and a 2-on-1. Loney to target, getting in front. Hamill forces the neutral ball. It spills out of play. 70 out from the Saints goal at right half forward. St Kilda with the only score. They're one straight. Adelaide yet to hit the scoreboard 8 minutes in.
At the throw-in over on the hillside of the ground. Nicely populated. There's a big marquee over there as well for the corporate types as Hunter Clark gets it, gives to Hill. Hill's hand pass. Saints in possession on the outer wing. Comes back to Hunter Clark. High hoist around the corner, down the line. Billings clattered into by Duday. It floated out of bounds on the full. It's a free kick to the Crows at left half back. Already you can see the perspiration on the players. At warm evening in Cairns. A lot of humidity. In the 80s, the humidity. Wouldn't expect anything less from Cairns. So the Adelaide Crows out of defence towards the wing. Rowe took possession and saw it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Centre wing out of side of the ground. It's still the Saints by a goal.
Dockers too good for the Suns earlier this afternoon at Perth Stadium. So a 27-point win for Freo. Pretty ugly first half, must be said, that game over in Perth. Just the 2 games Saturday of round 13 from the boundary throw-in. McHenry first possession, but it's stolen as Clark comes up with it. Hand pass to Steele, high up and under down the wing. Arriving late, Caulfield thumps into the back of Berry. And Sam Berry will get the free kick. Back from concussion, missed the 1 game. Picked 28 in last year's national draft. The Crows' 4th selection overall. He goes long to Philthorpe, shoved out of the way. And in the end, the intercept mark taken by Dougal Howard, right half back for the Saints. St Kilda 1 straight, Adelaide yet to score. Travelled 9 minutes in the opening term.
Howard with a low and direct ball to the defensive side of the outer wing. Steele assesses his options. Told to play on by the umpire, as you heard. His kick down the line on the wing, cleared the intended target, picked up in the pack by Crouch, jammed it on his left boot towards half-forward bouncing ball, well picked up by Berry of Adelaide. Defensive hand pass to Kelly. Off to the first game of Worrell. If you haven't seen him, just picture Greg Anderson, a taller version of Greg Anderson. He's got the very rude mullet, which seems a prerequisite for any player on debut these days. He's a young Victorian from Bentley, played for Sandy in the under-18s and was Vic Metro's leading goal kicker a couple of years ago, but playing in defence. Loney's taken possession for St Kilda. He's turned it over inside 50, and Kelly takes the defensive mark in the left-back pocket.
Lids, I was talking down the first half of the Freo Suns game. We haven't missed a heap here, though, have we? 10 minutes in. Pretty cagey start for both teams. As Butts just goes short to Keys. He hands it back to Jordan Butts, right back pocket for the Crows. Long contest kick out towards the grandstand wing as McAdam flies, can't complete the juggled mark, falls down towards Sloan. He hands it away quickly to Laird, hooks his kick down the wing. Hill intercepts, kicks it straight into McHenry, charging it down in the other direction. Ricochets back inboard. Crouch has it. His hand pass a turnover. Sloan suits, kick to half forward for the Crows. But St Kilda with the numbers back, and Howard, first one there, a long kick across the ground. And the mark taken at centre-half back by Billings.
Billings to the outer wing. Loney dropped what he should have taken. Swooping upon it, Hamill. A Hamill for the Crows. The Saints used to love a Hamill. He kicks to half-forward and Walker into the pocket. Philthorpe the target. He's manhandled his opponent, Howard, who wins another one-on-one with the youngster. And Howard will have it in the right back pocket for the Saints. Crowd getting a little fractious as the kick comes back to full-back. Brad Hill's getting a lot of early touches. He takes the mark. Feeds the hand pass, and Webster's kick dangerous near the boundary line. Centimetre perfect, as some would say. It's marked at left half back by Burns.
Man with the nickname Ronnie, of course, a famous figure in both the Geelong and Adelaide football clubs. He kicks down the wing. Ryan Burns, and Ryder takes the mark. There was a free kick off the ball. Ump says it's all okay. They take the advantage, sends it down towards King. He overruns it. Hunter also there, lays to Shepherd. King collects. Hand pass to Butler. Strolls into goal. He snaps but hits the post. And behind for Dan Butler. 12 minutes in, St Kilda 1-1. Adelaide yet to score. Humid night, 87% humidity at Kazali Stadium up in Cairns. All, 46 players involved in the game playing here for the first time tonight.
McKay kicked it into Hamill, too short of him. Loney goes in, forces a contest, 30 from goal. Hunter Clark's got it. He's tackled. It spills to the side of the pack. Laird farms out a hand pass towards the boundary line. McPherson for Adelaide. He's tackled by Steele. A throw in 55 metres from the Saints goal at right half forward.
Well, it's typical conditions, you could say. The Jews, you mentioned the Jew maybe setting in after half time, but it's there. But it feels like the mistakes that everyone's making aren't because of the conditions. It's lace-out kicks, hitting him on the chest, dropping easy marks. They're handling the ball pretty good, particularly around stoppages in heat, so they really can't blame the conditions.
From this stoppage, Steele gets it inside 50 for the Saints. No mark in the pack. Burns gets it. Hand pass out to King. King, right foot snap, floating ball. He's missed. And he's missed a lot. Out of bounds on the full. A couple of early shots for King and nothing on the board for him so far. 1-1-7 the Saints. Adelaide yet to score on Grandstand AFL. We're at the 13-minute mark.
It's 1 goal for Max King since that 1-5 against the Cats, and hasn't had many kicks in the last 3 games as well, as the Crows with a long ball out to half back. Laird bottom of the pack. Pack forms around him. Umpire says play on. Dunstan had it, lost it. Second attempt. Swings a kick over his shoulder. Bouncing off the chest of Steele and out of play, so we'll have a throw in right half forward here for the Saints. 57 disposals to 34, so they've had the lion's share of possession, St Kilda. somewhat against the traditional scoring end at Kazali Stadium in Cairns. They're 1-1. Adelaide yet to score from the throw-in. Sliding in Billings, went without it. Keys ends up with it. Got a nice hand pass. Now Keys on the outer wing. Hooks the kick across the body. Flying through Walker. His first involvement. Can't take the mark. Spills to long of the Saints. Hand pass away to Hunter Clark on the wing.
Kicks through the middle of the ground. Again, too low for the intended target. Caulfield couldn't mark. And then they spill on top of the ball inside the centre circle. Strong tackling from Berry. Webster underneath it. A ball up. Slightly St Kilda's attacking side of the centre circle. No one really went hard at it in ruck. Hunter just got a deft hand to it. Down to Steele, back to Clark. Dishes off the hand pass. Now the high kick inside the 50 from Billings. No mark. In that contest was Higgins. Ryder as well. Ryder's just pushed over Duday, who made a bit of a meal of it and flew back, and the umpire wasn't having any of it, so it will be a throw-in in the right forward pocket. The Saints dominating early, but only leading by 7 points.
No, St Kilda. Not the start he probably wanted, Jack Higgins. First real involvement in the game for the boundary throw-in. O'Brien wins it down. McPherson was involved, tackled, dispossessed, socked forward in the end by Keys. Adelaide work it out. Jones, a hurried kick down the wing for the Crows, and getting back Highmore, another intercept mark in the defensive 50. Takes on Tex Walker as he's told to go. Hand pass wide to Hunter. It was on Adelaide's list once upon a time. Turns and kicks to right half forward. Loney caught at the back, forced to spoil. Away from Hamill and a boundary throw in. 70 out from the Saints goal, right half forward.
There's not so many positives in this game, but Highmore's arguably the best player on the ground. Yeah. He's had like 4 or 5 intercept possessions. Yeah. He hadn't butchered it by foot. He'd be a clear standout.
Now, I'm just noticing a collection of fans at the back of this boundary throw-in are wearing hard hats. So I'm not sure what they're thinking might take place tonight, but there are about 10 of them wearing white hard hats over there, like they're on a construction site. Adelaide in possession. Left half forward. Trying to work it forward was Fogarty. A chance here. McHenry picks up. Great tackle. Nailed by Long. Got a hand pass out belatedly. Going through Schonberg. Couldn't win it for the Crows. Highmore off to Long now. He is caught. Tackled by Fogarty. Ball stays in. Little dribble kick around the boundary line. Will go out of play. Thilthorpe tried to work it back to a dangerous position. Was this holding the ball? McHenry took them on, got tackled by Long, went to ground, and then on his hands and knees got a hand pass out. I think he had more than enough time.
Both teams have only led it quarter time on 3 occasions this year, now in their 13th start from the boundary throw-in. Hunter palms it down, the footy comes back to him, whacks it away to Steele. Hand pass to Clark, bounces a kick out of the defensive 50. Ryder tries to trap the footy, can't do so successfully. In the other direction, Jones turns, kicks it deep inside 50. Long spills the mark, under pressure, top of the defensive goal square, whacks it away to Webster. Hand pass reaches Wilkie, turns into trouble. On the last line, Howard can mop it up. Hurried kick, under pressure, too wide and out on the full. So Adelaide will lock it in and get the free kick up against the fence right half forward. And taking the kick about 55 out, Berry just chips it very short. Honours the lead of Darcy Fogarty, who marks about 5 metres in for the boundary, still 45 out.
Well, both teams are really struggling to come to terms with the conditions at the moment, aren't they? It's hardly been any clean footy whatsoever. That's nearly the first kick mark that we've actually seen, certainly going inside 50, but beautiful kick of the footy, usually Darcy Fogarty. Back him in from out here.
New 2-year deal during the week, so the 13th player re-signed by the Crows this season alone. Darcy Fogarty, tough angle, set shot from right to left, straight across the face. It's missed the whole set.
Thilthorpe spoke him up, didn't I?
Thilthorpe appealing, he got a hand on it on the behind line. I don't think the umpire's buying that. And a free kick for Dougal Howard next to the behind post. Saints 1-1, Adelaide yet to score, 18 minutes in.
Howard into the back flank. And the mark's taken by Higgins on his chest, leaping into the air. He's near the boundary line. He goes around the outer wing. Not a great kick, just cleared over the top of Chase Jones. Dunstan at the bottom of the pack got a hand pass to Battle. He is tackled. Will be a ball up. Adelaide's defensive side of the wing. Hunter the tap down. Schonberg had it lost. It led, cop one in the back or holding the man. Either way, his free kick Defensive side of the hill wing at Kazali. St Kilda by 7 points, 117 to no score, and we've played 18 and a half minutes.
Oh, that's not a great kick from Laird. Put his mate Duday under all sorts of pressure. The footy sits behind Crouch, and Duday, Crouch the tackler, spills to Laird. His hand pass picked off. Clark gives it back to Crouch. Tumbles a kick forward for the Saints. It'll be picked off by Butts. Again, can't pick up the slippery footy. Eventually hands it to Worrell. Hurried kick down the wing. No mark there for McAdam. Has a second go at ground level. Gets it out to Rowe. Hands it back to Seedsman. Hurried kick down that outer wing. Goes straight to Howard. And again, the Saints set up well in their back half. Howard takes the intercept mark. Defensive side of the wing. Saints 1-1 Adelaide yet to score. 19 minutes into the opening term. Kazali Stadium up in Cairns.
Long kick down the line. And off hands it goes over the boundary line.
Here's one for you, Al, off the SMS. How did the Sandown Drew Moffat Memorial quaddie go today, fellas? Sandown is normally good to me, but today was anything but good.
Oh, we're with you there. We're with you there. It was a disaster. First leg, gone. It's a fairly frequent occurrence for us.
Mugs game.
To be honest, absolutely. And then the blame game starts.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
And try and work out who's responsible. I think it's a collective effort, but not very often.
You're not taking any responsibility.
No, I wouldn't have a clue, mate. But I'm part of it, so I've got to take my whack. Now, Adelaide has it on all the play has been on the far side. It's almost exclusively been over there as McAdams kicks a shocker, and there's been a lot of turnover. Sinclair has intercepted this. Right half back comes into the middle. Back towards the broadcast side. Dunstan marks. Long kick inside 50. That's a beautiful pass. King had separation on his opponent, Butts, and marked directly in front, 40 metres out. He goes back, and you wonder what's going through his mind.
It's a good test room early, isn't it? 45-ish, 50 metres straight in front. No problem with distance, but more about accuracy right now.
He's had a long-range shot and a snap, and neither has scored so far. 6 goals, 18 in his past 8 games. King starts at left, fading back. That's a good sign for St Kilda. King kicks the goal. And with it, perhaps his confidence will rise. St Kilda with a good start. 2-1-13. Adelaide yet to score. We've played 21 minutes with Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Simple footy, wasn't it? Half back, kick into the corridor, mark, get it long into a one-on-one just to advantage. And King had isolation. I think it was on young Betts, was it?
Butts, yep.
Butts.
He was surprised. I think he dropped off thinking this is not hitting the target. So go on what's happened so far. Yeah. I'll just drop off here. And that was a beautiful kick by Dunstan, one that just allowed King to work his way into it. Just watching from behind the goals here, set him up beautifully. Didn't really take much off him there, Butts. Could have put a bit more work into King, but that's all right. Good for Maxi King. Get that first one on the board. Always nice to see him spin well, go through post high when you've been suffering the yips.
13 points to zip to start the game. Time on opening term. Ryder leaps high, palms it down. Crouch out after it for the Saints. Hands it wide to Burns. Sells the dummy and then kicks inside 50. Wood brings it down. Controls the footy. Snaps Goldwood and he's got his second. The Saints have 2 in a minute. Mason Wood from about 35 out. Tumbles one through Goldwood post high. And St Kilda 3-1-19. Adelaide yet to score. 22 played opening term on Grandstand AFL.
They're getting really good separation, isolation there. Wood was obviously at the fall of the ball, 1v1, but even had time just to follow up. Ball hit the ground, and then obviously a great finish only off a couple of steps. But there is a vulnerability with Adelaide's defence being so young. Their tools are obviously developing, so if they can get in there, create isolation. Again, as a young player, as you probably know, Lids, that down back, you just tend to worry about your own opponent, struggle to
There's no general down there,
sag off and provide third man intercepting and all that kind of thing. So Smith plays that higher role, which is more of a rebounder, so he's not more that intercept mark guy. So the senior players are more up the field. So those younger guys, if they can isolate them, they're going to be exposed.
Ryder opposed to O'Brien. No decisive knock, probably shared it in the end. Going through was Laird. He's tackled over it. 3 Saints spill around him. It's ripped away by Steele. His hand pass out of the pack. Picked up in defence by McPherson. Little hand pass. Seedsman's kick smothered. McPherson goes again. Punches it out of a pack towards the centre circle. Schonberg slid onto it. Knocked it out. High kick from McKay towards centre half forward. Hunter Clark had it, lost it, and then a lingering free kick on him. And a free kick to the Saints. It's against McAdam in the middle of the ground. Hunter Clark, defensive side of the centre circle. So this has been a very encouraging start from St Kilda. Starting to get a bit of scoreboard reward now. Highmore receives, gives to Sinclair a bounce, a second bounce, a skiddy bounce. You can tell it's a little moist out there. Now a long kick inside the 50. Ryder back of the pack, King in the pack. Hands to it, no mark. And it goes out of play next to the right behind post off a boot. It's out on the full, I suspect, off Loney. And Hamill will have the free kick for the Crows.
A couple of games back now for Will Hamill. Was the sub a fortnight ago against the Tigers. It's his 19th game. The 20-year-old, he goes short. The umpire says not 15. Away towards Chase Jones. He's hurried, kicks a turnover. Ends up being banged back over his head. Dunstan, he misses to the near side. A minor score. Gee, they're under siege, the Crows. Still yet to score. 24 minutes in. St Kilda 3-2. Adelaide yet to register behind.
So the Saints asking early questions. Smith brings it back in. Long ball towards the back flank. O'Brien in the pack. Free kick against. And Highmore, who has dominated early for St Kilda, pushes up the ground to be in that contest and is rewarded with the free kick. Right half forward, 2 kicks from goal. A high ball to the pocket. King in the pack. It gets to the back. Now there's a Shepherd in that marking contest, and Duday will have the free kick. The umps, like probably a few people when he first started his career, just having a few issues with the pronunciation of his name there. But Tom Duday will have it in the left back pocket.
Dodie.
So Duday to go long, out towards the outer wing. On the eastern side of the ground, no mark for O'Brien. Spills down to Dunstan of the Saints. Hand pass to Highmore, gives it back to Dunstan. Logo eastern wing, some indecision, and then just a hurry ball forward straight to O'Brien. Takes the intercept mark. Lays a hand pass off to Seedsman. Floats a kick back down the wing. Tough one for McHenry to mark. He goes to ground. Sinclair wins the footy. Keeps his feet. Decides to cut back into the corridor. A good option. Long takes the mark to St Kilda. Lifts the hand pass over the man on the mark to Crouch. Links up with Steele. Kicks to centre half forward. Higgins takes the mark. And Jack Higgins will have a set shot. 50 out right in front to try and bury some of his demons right here.
Well, there's a real want, wasn't there, for St Kilda to keep the ball moving and in motion. There's a nice flick on from Crouch to Steele. We're talking about Max King having some demons. Well, this bloke's got a couple as well after last week. It'd be nice for him to get one on the board early. See him doing a lot of work on the news. See whether that's paid off.
The deep breaths for Jack Higgins as he skips inside the 50-metre arc. He's set, shot, sails, goalward. It skims the post on the way through it. A minor score for Higgins. 1-6 last week. And his first set shot tonight behind from 50 out right in front. Edging closer. 3-3 St Kilda. Adelaide yet to score as we tick towards quarter time.
Sort of clasped his hands as that was on the way towards goal, as if he was praying that it would go through. Brodie Smith brings it into the middle of the ground, standing in front of the pack, unable to mark for the Adelaide Crows. Comes to the back, Wilkie. Little chip towards the broadcast side of the wing where we've hardly seen any play. Billings back towards half forward, kicked over the top. Worrell was there, coming to meet it. Higgins, hand pass over his head near the boundary line. McKay gets onto it for the Crows. Hand pass, Higgins, soccers forward into the pocket. Caulfield playing forward, opposed on that occasion to Smith. And it's off hands, out of play. Left forward pocket. Saints in attack as they've been for much of this opening term. 21-point lead, ticking up towards quarter time.
I find that weird, Caulfield playing forward. I thought he's actually had a really good year last year and was going quite well at the start here at half-back, albeit St Kilda couldn't get a win on the board.
O'Brien palms it down. Laird floats the ball out, a defensive 50, but straight to Steele. The co-captain intercepts. And the mark set right on the paint for the 50, left half forward. And Caulfield found himself out of the team and now back in as a forward. No Membry tonight, trying to plug a hole as he just lays it up top of the goal square. O'Brien back, knocks it towards the boundary line. Higgins keeps it alive in the pocket. Hand pass to Loney for the Saints. To Ward, he goes back by hand, away to Clark. Hooks a kick from half forward, back inside 50. Hand on it on the way through from Caulfield. No mark. Ground level, Crouch's hand pass comes back to him. Umpire lets him roll. Worrell's happy to lock it in between his knees. And a ball up, right forward pocket for the Saints. 17 seconds left on the game clock before quarter time. The Saints, the only scorers, they're 3-3. Adelaide yet to hit the board.
Tossed in the air, O'Brien tapped it down. Seedsman comes out of the pack. Dunstan got him. He gave it off to Laird. His kick out of the fence. Long knocked it down. Spins away from Key. Snaps towards goal. Not much penetration on it. Still alive. Smith soccers out of defence for Adelaide. Duday spins through. The attempted tackle from Wood, then caught by Sinclair. Threw it out. Free kick Saints directly in front. 45 metres from goal. So the throw called there on Duday, and Sinclair will kick after the siren towards the city end for the Saints' fourth goal. Adelaide will be scoreless in that opening term. Sinclair puts the ball on the ground, composes himself, assesses the breeze. And Duday's attempted hand pass, he had one arm pinned by Sinclair, and that was the right call of illegal disposal. Can the Saints get some reward for effort in this first quarter? Sinclair's kick starts left, comes back on the breeze. He's put it through. Promising start from St Kilda in general play and with better accuracy. 4-3-27 the Saints. The Crows yet to score at quarter time on Grandstand AFL from Ghazali Stadium in Cairns. Mason Wood's kick 2, Max King's kick 1. And the goal there to Sinclair, the goal kickers in this contest so far. The Saints by 27 at the first break.
It's the 9th time that Adelaide have had a scoreless quarter. It's the first time they've had a scoreless term since round 3 last year against Gold Coast up at Carrara. That was an opening quarter as well on that occasion, so not a single point to show for it, the opening term for the Crows. St Kilda by 27 points. More of your contributions on 0437 774 774. Let us know where you're listening tonight. Earlier today, just one other game played Saturday of round 13. The Dockers too good for the Suns. A 27-point victory for Freo. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital, it's quarter time, Ghazali Stadium in Cairns. The Saints by 27. This is Grandstand AFL.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app. Step into someone else's shoes in conversations with Richard Feidler and Sarah Konoski.
She hadn't seen me since I was 2. I was about 16 now. And she looked at me. She said, "That's my baby brother, Archie."
Or learn how to make your money work for you as comedian Nazim Hussain looks at spending less and spending better in the Pineapple Project.
I learned the hard way to budget, but I'm still paying for my 20s in a way.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Smith's kick turned it over. Kick it straight to King. King 70 from goal. Right half forward. Kicks the Saints inside the 50. Bouncing ball at the back. Battle gathers. Feeds the hand pass back. From the pocket. Left foot snap. It's a goal to the Saints. The opener kick by Mason Wood. McAdams kicks a shocker and been a lot of turnover. Sinclair has intercepted this. Right half back comes into the middle. Back towards the broadcast side. Dunstan marks. Long kick inside 50. That's a beautiful pass. King had separation on his opponent butts and marked directly in front, 40 metres out. King starts at left, fading back. That's a good sign for St Kilda. King kicks the goal.
Crouch out after it for the Saints. Hands it wide to Burns. Sells the dummy and then kicks inside 50. Wood brings it down. Controls the footy. Snaps goalward and he's got his second. The Saints have 2 in a minute.
Smith soccers out of defence for Adelaide. Duday spins through. The attempted tackle from Wood, then caught by Sinclair, threw it out. Free kick Saints directly in front. Can the Saints get some reward for effort in this first quarter? Sinclair's kick starts left, comes back on the breeze. He's put it through.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Bill off the SMS 0437 774 774. All the Crows have is a big fat egg. Time to lay some score down. We're keen to hear from you tonight, wherever you may be listening. 0437 774 774. Brett Ratton chatting to the Saints, former St Kilda champion Brendan Goddard, alongside Brett Delidio, man who averages 30 disposals a game at Ghazali Stadium in Cairns, with their take on that opening term. Lids and Beach.
What a kick-ins to myself, I reckon, probably. Look, yeah, not much to say about the Crows, unfortunately. The only stats that they're leading at the moment, speaking of stats, is they're +1 in the free kick count. So the umps are trying to help them, and they're +1 in the clearances, but everything else is a landslide towards the Saints. So I'm talking disposals, 113 to 73, contested possessions, 48 to 32, tackles. So they're not winning it, but they're not tackling either, down 21-17, and the inside 50s, as you could probably expect after all of that, they're down 14 to 6. So they've just got to get their hands on it, Beej, I think, the Crows. And I don't like saying, it's got to come down to their senior players and that, but unfortunately, when you're a young side, it comes down to your senior players.
Need something to lean on, but we gave them a pump up about their effort, intensity around the ball. That's been lacking. When they have won it, they've turned it over off half-back and given the Saints a number of opportunities. And then when they've been able to actually get it past halfway and look like having a good inside 50, they've butchered the ball as well. So a number of things adding up just to give them, as Corbin mentioned, just donuts on the scoreboard. But St Kilda, they managed to get the ball back through the corridor a number of times and find someone inside 50 isolated on, we made mention of Adelaide's young defensive unit. So if they're able to continue to do that, and if Adelaide continue to keep turning the ball over and allowing St Kilda then to come back through the corridor, they're in for a long night. So, but in their defence, it's difficult conditions, but some of the mistakes been made from both teams. I don't think they can use the conditions as an excuse. So it's not a pretty game of footy, but for Saints fans, they'd be pretty happy at quarter time.
What do you make of the way they set up? So we've seen Highmore obviously get a fair bit of the footy. Caulfield's playing in the forward line. Yep. New roles in recent weeks for guys like Jack Sinclair, who's obviously got a bit more midfield time and kicked a goal there right on the bell to end the quarter. So he doesn't have a lot to work with, Brett Ratton, with many players unavailable to him, but you can starting to see some different roles for a few guys.
Yeah, I've liked Sinclair going half back, midfield as well. I think he gives them a bit of zip off there and changes direction for him. I think his ability to step, Hunter Clark's got that as well, but he's not as quick as Sinclair. Brad Hill, him getting his hands on it, but Tom Highmore's probably the one. If he, as you said, Beej, if he had been kicking it a little bit better, half decent, he'd probably best player on the ground. But the way they're setting up, I'm really worried about where Adelaide's forwards are. They're just getting a little bit lost. They're not getting there. They're always outnumbered at the source when the high ball's coming in. So I'm sure they'll make a few adjustments, see whether they can get them set up a bit closer to it, get some smaller players around some of their keys. Young Riley Thilthorpe and Tex and Darcy Fogarty, they're the guys that are going to have to create that contest, get it going forward and hopefully get a score on the board.
Haven't led at half-time, the Crows, since round 6, so and they've been playing from behind in a lot of games recently. And they're 27 down here as we head into the second term. O'Brien and Ryder share it out of the ruck. Spits out to Billings. Hand pass away to Steele. Links up with Hill, who bounces off half-back. Kicks out wide to Higgins, who takes the mark. Back of his wayward kicking final quarter last week. He's had one look at the sticks for one behind to start. He's on the wing here. Eastern side of the ground. Higgins goes long to the pack. King flies, can't mark. Spills down to Dunstan. Links up with Crouch, who's retreating against his old team and his old number. Keys trying to close him down. He gets a kick forward. There's going to be a free kick as... in fact, it's going Adelaide's way. O'Brien had his arms chopped in the marking contest. So his 50th game tonight. Big Riley O'Brien out at right half-back for the Crows.
O'Brien kicks towards the wing, outer side through the hands of Ryder. There's a holding on free kick. It's going Thilthorpe's way in that marking contest. Thilthorpe looks to the middle, kicks to the back point of the square. McKay marks. McKay moves back, assesses, ignores the lead from Sloane through the corridor and looks to the outer side again. The patrons on that hill side of the ground have had a close-up view. It's off hands in the pack. Dunstan roves at the back. Gives to Highmore. His kick to the wing marked by Billings. Billings uncontested. Pulls it in on his chest. Centre wing.
Off contract Saint in his 64th consecutive game, Jack Billings. Game number 139 in his career. Down towards half forward, right at the target. Caught at the back. Spills down St Kilda's way as Crouch tries to usher a hand pass back towards Hill. Slips past him. Clever. Keys socket it towards The advantage of his teammate Rowe. Got a hand pass down the wing. Seedsman had it. He turns it over by hand as well. From the logo eastern wing, Webster just pumps it back in the other direction. Ryder leaps up and marks and wants to move it on quickly. Hands it out to Crouch. Further wide to Billings. 55 from home. Kicks into the pocket. Jones in the box seat. Whacked away by Caulfield. Spills to Kelly and Wood tackles him over the boundary line. And a throw in left forward pocket for the Saints. They're deep forward again, trying to score from a stoppage. St Kilda 4-3, Adelaide yet to hit the board, and we're 2.5 minutes into the second term.
A few Crows fans in the stadium trying to rev their team up. O'Brien palmed it down towards the boundary line. Higgins got it tackled, hand pass out the back. Billings off a step, a snap for goal. He misses. From 40 metres out, he missed on the left-hand side, but the trend St Kilda set going in that first quarter has continued. The way they've started this second term looks ominous. 4-4-28 the Saints. The Crows yet to score. They've played 2.5 minutes, nearly 3 minutes of this second term.
So McKay from the kick-out takes some ground and then kicks it long in front of the grandstand, which is packed, by the way. O'Brien can't mark. Spills down to Battle. His hand pass stolen by Laird. Goes back by hand. Away to Jones. His kick touched on the way through. Brodie Smith had a look at it, as did Sinclair. Knocks it to Dunstan's advantage. Pushes off one from the wing. Kicks St Kilda back inside 50. Caulfield out to meet it. No mark. Falls back into congestion. Wood's got his head over it. He's tackled. Smith tries to stand up with a foot. He can't clear for the Crows. Higgins bottom of the pack, knocked away from him. Keys a little soccer, but straight to Sinclair. Turnover every possession at the moment as his kick bounces. Goalward, unkind bounce for Sinclair. It pitches and rolls into the post. Ryder couldn't track it down, trying to soccer it through on the line, and another minor score. So a couple of behinds to start the term for the Saints. They're 4-5. Adelaide yet to score. 4 minutes into the second quarter.
Jones kicks into the right half-back flank to Berry. Berry's chip taken on the half volley and not 15. Seedsman cleans it up, then wobbles a kick and turned it over straight to Dunstan. Hand pass to Hill. Broke a tackle, started brightly, kicks inside 50, hits the target of Butler. 45 from goal, directly in front.
Well, don't roll onto your left and be that casual about it if you can't actually get them spinning and hit a target.
or hit your foot.
Yeah, I reckon Seedsy might be getting the old message coming out from the runner. Mate, you got nothing on. Just bang it long down the line, I reckon. But beautiful composure from Brad Hill. You can see again, they're really trying to get the game moving, keep it flowing, not allow Adelaide to set up behind the footy.
Only 3 goals in his past 5 games, Dan Butler. His kick starts right, coming back. Oh, yes, St Kilda looking very different tonight. Butler kicks his first, and the Saints have 5. 5-5-35 to the Crows, nothing. Through 5 minutes of the second term on Grandstand AFL.
Oh, well, it was a good finish, but another turnover from Adelaide. But that rule being exposed with the man on the mark just then.
Yep.
The umpire, as we've spoken about a number of times, is not in the right position. You'd see Smith at the time waiting for the umpire to call play on. If you're watching at home, you'll be getting a replay. He's waiting for the umpire to call it, and he can't because he's not in the position. He's side on the other side. So as soon as Butler moves off the line and he plays on,
you should be able to come at him.
Smith can't move. Literally got concrete in his boots because he's waiting for an umpire to call play on. And arguably just, and we see him disputing the call or no call there, but it's ridiculous positioning by the umpire.
Brendan Goddard on Grandstand AFL as Hunter wins the tap back in the middle to Hunter Clark, who's out to meet it for the Saints. He's dispossessed in close, spills to Crouch, high up and under, still inside the middle of Kazali Stadium. Laird has it, scoops it out the back, but straight onto the part that Burns, sockers it inside 50 for the Saints. Caulfield out to meet it, tackled by Hamill straight away. And the Crows will come up with it. McPherson kicks hurriedly out of the wing.
Oh, well done in the air. Long launched early and brought it to ground and got a hand pass out. It didn't hit a target though. Fogarty's bumped off it. McHenry slides in for the Crows. Hand pass missed the target. Long swoops again. Broadcast wing kicks down the line. Almost a one-handed mark to Steele. And it ricochets off McKay over the boundary near the interchange. Adelaide with no answers at the moment.
Just on that issue, Beach, I feel like that's an easy fix too, where you could have one of the non-controlling umpires actually set up behind the kicker. So, I mean, it's obviously...
Why couldn't it be the controlling umpire that's in play?
Well, even standing behind the kicker?
Yeah.
As opposed to... Well, yeah. I mean, you could also... Given the fact
standing
that it's a
behind
new
the
rule,
guy on the mark as well.
Well, what are the other two guys doing? They could easily have a look at it from where they are. From the boundary throw-in, Saints move it to half forward. Steele kicks into the pocket. Ryder can't mark. Falls to Duday. He's tackled, lost it. Falls out to Butts. Hurried kick clears the defensive arc. Out towards Rowe. Dispossessed in the tackle. He was dumped after getting rid of it, so it'll come back to Jimmy Rowe, defensive edge of the centre square. And the controlling umpire's never previously been involved in a set shot, but it's also a new rule, so maybe it's a chance to sort of weave them in. As his kick comes out to the wing, Keys spears it inside to Schonberg, who plays on straight away. The second-year Crow kicks to centre-half forward, no one back. Dougal Howard takes the intercept mark, centre-half back for the Crows.
Howard to left-half back. Highmore slides in to take the mark. He's had a very good start to the game. Highmore, 6 marks, 12 possessions. Kick goes into the middle. Massive bump. Oh, Hunter Clark has been absolutely flattened in the middle of the ground. The Crows go forward, turn it over. Highmore, another intercept mark. That was a massive bump in the middle of the ground. Need to see that on the replay just to assess the severity of it, but it happened in very quick time and Clark was felled. Not sure he's got up. King marks a kick at half forward, kicks to the pocket. Loney bouncing ball on his own. Near the boundary, comes in field, left foot snap, he misses, and for a crafty little small forward, he should have done much, much better from 20 metres out. 5-6-36 St Kilda. Adelaide yet to score. We've played 8 minutes. Still down in the middle of the ground, Hunter Clark in the arms of 3 trainers. David McKay went through, attacking the ball. His shoulder has collected Hunter Clark in the head, and he has been unceremoniously felled.
Can't wait to see how they treat that.
Yes, me too.
Looked like he was contesting the ball, certainly Dave McKay, but as you said, Hunter Clark still with the trainers at the moment. We'll keep you updated. And in fact, they're going to cause a halt to play. The kick's going to come back, I think, to Kelly in the defensive 50 for the Crows. By the way, St Kilda are 5-6-36. Adelaide haven't scored. 9 minutes into the second term and Hunter Clark being helped off the ground.
Mate, when we start, you've got to be 6 metres this way.
2 guys contesting the footy in different directions. He's been cut open on his lip as well, so the blood rule, and as a result, play will be stopped until he makes his way off. Talk us through it, Beach. How do you think they'll look at that?
Oh, it's a 50-50 ball, and again, McKay's arguably done everything right.
Protected
himself, turned side on.
You can see his hands are down as well. He's trying to get his hands on the ball.
And unfortunate.
Yeah. And that'll help him. It's not as if he's chosen the bump. He hasn't lined up and...
No, he's done the right thing.
It's a 50-50 ball, and they're both attacked it in the right manner. It's just that...
Turned his shoulder and protected himself the way he should.
Hunter's a little bit lower than...
Yep. It's just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate accident that happens in a contact sport.
So they'll look at it firstly to assess, is it a football action? And I think, based on what you're saying, yes and yes.
He's trying to win it.
Brett Olivier and Brendan Goddard, Grandstand AFL. Jack Bytel warming up. He's the medical sub for the Saints. And Lockie Scholl, surprisingly, the medical sub, the boom youngster for the Crows. Maybe an indication more than anything that the bye's coming up. 13 straight weeks for the Crows, a young player. We'll have a boundary throw in here as the Crows kick ends up out of play in front of the benches. Some worrying numbers too to start this second term. 9-2, the inside 50 count. Territory battle, about 80% of the game in this second term being played in the front half for the Saints. The free kick again going St Kilda's way as Smith tucked it under his arm, took on the tackler Steele and Steele got him. Lays the tackle and penalised holding the ball, Brodie Smith. Saints with it on the wing. Steele the 1-2 with Webster. Kicks to centre half forward. Caulfield out positioned at the back. Wood mops it up. Clean half volley pick up. Hand pass reaches Higgins. Spears a kick through traffic. Top of the goal square. King can't mark. And Butts floats the ball out of the defensive arc for Adelaide.
Brad Hill up, hands to it, no mark. Burns rose for St Kilda. Hand pass towards the logo. Webster feeds it. Hill, another possession. He kicks from the wing to the half-forward flank. Higgins pushed under the ball, no free kick. Picking up Laird, he's tackled, dispossessed. Crouch goes through. Hand pass, Higgins dropped it, goes back in and wins it. Farms it out. Crouch, under pressure, knocked it to the side. Top of the 50. Wood slaps it, gets past Burns. McHenry knocks it towards the boundary line. The Saints, can they win it here? Hunter couldn't take it. Burns fights hard again. It rumbles to the side. Wood inside 50. Ball hits the carpet. Duday cleans it up at fullback and he chips it short and finds Seedsman. Fullback, defensive 50, only 15 metres out from the goals the Crows are defending. They're scoreless. Saints 5-6, 11-minute mark of the second.
Oh, Seedsman out to half-back, slips through the hands of Berry, mopped it up, hands it back to Seedsman. He links up with Duday. Seedsman gets his third touch in the chain. Away towards Sloan. Back to Seedsman. Make that number 4. Has his jumper tugged right on halfway. Hand pass back to Rowe for the Crows. Goes back by hand to Duday. Back to Rowe against the boundary line. In a phone booth, the Crows work it out. Long kick to half forward. Offhand spills down to Fogarty. He's got it at right half forward. 70 out. Kicks into the pocket. The target, McAdam. It's whacked away from him and out of play. So a throw in. 35 out from the Adelaide goal. A rare entry in this second term, or in this game really more broadly. St Kilda 5-6-36. Adelaide yet to score. 13 minutes into the second quarter.
Josh Kay, stats man on Twitter, has an absurd statistic that I'll bring you in a moment. From the throw-in, Steele got it out to Billings. Billings bouncing ball around the outer wing. Pushed off at Duday, but he did well to work his way back in. Tackle dispossessed, goes again, gets it, farms it out to Butts. Butts a high banana ball towards the half-forward flank. Hunter back with a flight, dropped the chest mark. Under no pressure, gives to Sinclair of St Kilda. His kick around the wing, marked by Dunstan. So Josh Kay on Twitter says the opponent's final score, that's gone out on the full, an Adelaide free kick. Opponent's final score in the 4 previous matches, Adelaide has been held scoreless at quarter time. 12-10-82 once. The other 3 occasions, all 3, 22 goals, 13, 145 the opposition has kicked. What an absurd statistic. Every 3 out of 4 times that is exactly what the score has been.
The Crows hurriedly get it inside the forward 50. Unkind bounce from McAdam and ends up out of play in the forward pocket. It's my kind of stat too, accounting numbers and just
it means zero, absolutely nothing in the context of the game other than it's just a very quirky stat, Corbs.
28-11, the inside 50 count. And on the scoreboard here, Adelaide still scoreless. St Kilda 5-6-36, 14 into the second term. A rare entry here. Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Crows. Tex grabs it out of the ruck, hooks his kick goal, but it's across the goal mouth. Wilkie was claiming the mark. Pressure front on from McAdam. He wanted a free kick. He won't get it. And the ball spills out of bounds in the opposite pocket. So a boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Crows. Kicking to the city end in this second term, still without a score.
14 minutes in, Ryder knocks it down. Schonberg there, couldn't collect for Adelaide. Charging through Smith, paddled. Schonberg picks up, fends away from his opponent. But he took the ball out of play in doing so. A throw in. Left half forward for the Crows. Broadcast side of the ground, in front of the main grandstand near the race.
You can imagine there's going to be a nice Bronx cheers when they finally hit the scoreboard.
Tossed in, Laird gets it, hand pass out towards Keys, hard on the boundary line, 25 out, goes the banana, Keys across the face, missed the lot. Darcy Fogarty didn't miss anyone, or Keys at least with his reaction, he was filthy. But that kick did not go to the top of the square, went right across the face, out on the full, and Highmore will have the free kick for the Saints.
I would have got up and walked out if that was their first score, if Keys has bended one through from the pocket. Having kicked one through a quarter and a half, and he's trying to bend one through on the non-preferred side. From across the goal face, it's out on the full. The kick out, though, is coming back. Duday chops it off on the wing, links up with McPherson. Now Seedsman by hand. Rowe at half forward, hands it back to Seedsman, who keeps on running. Pokes the kick into the pocket. McAdam leaps up and marks. Dougal Howard was worried about McHenry, the man behind him. There were 2 Crows and McAdam in the end up in front. I think that's what we call then in the middle of the Big Mac, and Shane McAdam will have a shot here from the right forward pocket.
The meat in the sandwich. Surely.
Inside left post here.
Surely, Brett.
Surely at least a score. The last 2 they've missed completely. McAdam outside of the right boot, bends it goalward, but misses to the near side. They're on the board, the Crows. It comes through a minor score. At the 16-minute mark of the second quarter, St Kilda 5-6-36, Adelaide are behind. Saints by 35, 16 played second quarter.
Hill into Highmore. Highmore balks around Taylor Walker, and might have been surprised that he did it so easily, because he then kicked it off the outside of the boot out on the full. Free kick to the Crows at left half forward. Broadcast side to be taken by Smith. He's about 75 from goal. Smith plays on, kicks towards the hot spot. Oh, should have been marked by McAdam. Dropped it, spills to him. He goes for home again and misses from 30 metres out. Oh, this has been a bit of a horror show early from Adelaide. 2 behinds on the board for the Crows. Through 16 minutes of the second quarter, the Saints by 34.
Long, a little casual on the kick out. Reaches Wilkie though. Marks at half back and plays on straight away. Lopes away from McHenry. Not a great kick. Intercepted by Berry. 55 out. Kicks back into the pocket for the Crows. McAdam collects on the bounce. Hand pass back to McHenry. Goes to ground. Lost it. Front on. Highmore collected high. And he'll get the free kick at half back for the Saints. A good start to the game. He'll take it almost at left half back. Saints by 34 points. 5-6 Adelaide, 2 behinds.
Crows have had the last 6 inside 50s. Kick goes towards the wing. Thilthorpe edged out his opponent, took the mark. It's coming in again. Can Adelaide manufacture a score of more meaning? Out comes Walker. Couldn't mark. Ricocheted off his chest. Wilkie dumped. Spills to Laird. Hand pass McHenry from the pocket. Right foot snap. Hit the post. Hit the left post. Another behind to the Crows. It's raining behinds at the moment for Adelaide after a period of mass drought in the contest. 17-minute mark, second quarter. The Crows 3 behinds. The Saints 5-6-36.
You mentioned earlier, Lids, this is the scoring end, kicking to the city end. The Crows. So at least they've been able to trap it in their front half with 3 straight behinds. The Saints kick-outs coming back again. Berry hand pass away to Seedsman. Hurried kick inside the forward 50. Fogarty went without it. Here's Schomburg. Hand pass over to Walker. Links up with Keys. They're going to walk one in. Hand pass over to McAdam. And at last, the Crows have a goal. Shane McAdam bangs it through from the goal line. 18 minutes into the second quarter. St Kilda 5-6-36. Adelaide are on the board. They're 1-3-9. Saints back to a 27-point lead as they had it at quarter time. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL.
Well, it wasn't as if it was kind of their first opportunity. They've dominated really the last 2 or 3 minutes, keeping the ball in their forward half. Good pressure as well. So McAdam's kicked.
He's been hot.
3 of the last 4 scores. So yeah, he's had a little purple patch here for 2 or 3 minutes, but. Again, they've just done it the right way, essentially. They arguably should be a couple more goals on the board from their hard work in the last 5 minutes. But good to see them get some reward for it.
It's just been off the back of being able to lock it in their front half, hasn't it? We've just seen Hunter Clark being subbed out of the game. Jack Bytel has been activated. He is in. Obviously, concussion, you would assume, being put out with that, and a head knock.
Yeah, had his bones rattled by David McKay, who was going for the ball, contesting the ball. It looked a pure football action, but his shoulder collected him in the head and he went flying. Socket inside the attacking 50 for Adelaide. Webster there for St Kilda. Hand pass out. It was slick and well taken by Sinclair, who bangs to the back flank, bouncing ball. And it is seen over the boundary line. Well, not quite. McKay, I thought was going to see it over the boundary, instead got held by Billings and will have the free kick for the Crows, which he sends inside the attacking 50. They're coming again. Up in front, Thorpe involved, no mark. Smith gets it, snaps for goal. 2 in a minute. Adelaide, yes! Smith strikes from 35 outs, and from flat lining, Adelaide has a pulse all of a sudden. 5-6-36 to 2-3-15. It's the Saints by 19 points. Make that 21 points at the 20-minute mark of the second.
They're just capitalising again on being able to keep it in their front half. Some good wing craft, I suppose you'd call it, from Dave McKay. Winning that free kick, banging it back in. Thilthorpe given a contest. And just good work from the half-backs, pushing down. Always good when you can get it and sniff a goal as a half-back. Brodie Smith, he certainly has. Down there, clean, little fumble early, but then a nice finish. Something he's always been able to do. Good work, the Crows, capitalising on this momentum swing that they've got at the moment. They need to bang another couple more on to make this game really interesting.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're 21 points.
And the last 5 score involvements in the game, so 2-3-15 after St Kilda. Race to 5-6-36 without Adelaide scoring. Back to a 21-point game. Off the square, Brodie Smith, the goal kicker, comes up with it. Drives it deep forward. Another centre break for Adelaide. But last man in the queue, Howard, takes the intercept mark for the Saints. Kazali Stadium in Cairns, Saturday night footy, standalone fixture. The only other game earlier today, Saturday of round 13, Fremantle by 27 over the Suns. 2 games tomorrow, North and the Giants in the afternoon slot, and then tomorrow night the Eagles and the Tigers, a blockbuster over in Perth. The kick comes wide to Burns, heads down the wing to King, who marks, but still in the defensive half, rolls and kicks to half forward. Caulfield out of position, and Will Hamill takes the intercept mark. Half back for the Crows, predominantly in their yellow strip this evening. A long ball back down the wing. Philthorpe flies, no mark. Spills to McAdam, who's been good. Hand pass away to Schonberg. Kicks to half forward. Fogarty flies, no mark. Spills to McHenry. They'll take the advantage. Hands it to Jimmy Rowe. They've kicked another score, but it's a behind. She very nearly had 3 on the bounce. Rowe misses on the run. Adelaide with the momentum here. They're 2-4-16. St Kilda 5-6-36. Back to 20 points the Saints' way. Now time on second turn.
From the kick in, Sinclair brings the ball towards the main grandstand wing. Sloane gets a hold of it for Adelaide. Bumped as he gets a kick along the line. A bouncing ball. Berry up to take it. Lost it. Sinclair sweeps, goes down on one knee, pops up, kicks well. Infield finds Higgins. Defensive side of the broadcast wing. Dangerous kick into the middle. Knocked away from the intended target by Smith. Rowe gets it, top of the 50. Hand pass to Laird. Kicks Adelaide for home again, and another behind. Oh, they are errant, the Crows, but they are coming hard. It's a 20-point lead at the 23-minute mark of this second quarter. The Saints 5-6 lead the Crows 2-5.
Well, the Saints need to understand the situation now. Just get their forwards across, get them up the ground. They're struggling to get it outside or inside their forward 50, or let alone past halfway, sorry. So get up the ground, get in play, just make it a contest and stall this momentum that Adelaide have clearly had the last 10 minutes.
Last 10 inside 50s for the Crows, last 7 scores. And St Kilda working up to halfway. Here's Higgins in front of the interchange. Swings a hand pass inside to Ryder. Hurried kick forward over the head of Wood, his intended target. Kelly out to meet it. Bumps off Ryder. Closed down by Wood. Hand pass back into dispute. Here's McKay. Picks it up. Tackled. Lost it. Higgins gets a free kick. Sloan into his back.
St Kilda.
Oh, and then ditches the footy led back at Higgins. And he's happy just to change the tempo as he takes his time having his kick on the broadcast wing.
Higgins with a rare inside 50 for the Saints. King couldn't impose. McPherson at the back took it, tackled by Butler, got a hand pass out towards the boundary line, and that is just knocked over the line by Battle at right half forward for St Kilda, 55 from goal. 19 points the St Kilda lead. Ticking up towards half-time. We're at the 24-minute mark of the second quarter. The Saints with 1 goal in this term. The Crows have kicked 2. Battle off the pack. A hand pass. Higgins had it, lost it. Berry's over the top of it as he is tackled by Battle and the umpire to ball it up. 60 from goal at right half forward. The umps have been interesting tonight. Fairly direct with the players. Sloane after it. As the ball hit the ground from the ruck contest, Steele playing for the free kick, pulled the arms in from Laird. Umpire was sucked in and Steele gets the free kick, attacking side of the wing.
To the All-Australian first-year captain, Jack Steele. And the 25-year-old sends it down to half forward. Jack Higgins takes the mark. Right half forward for the Saints. 60 out, just lays it up top of the goal square. King went very early, slips out the back to Burns. Hurried kick forward, gets the kind bounce. Burns halts the momentum with 1 back for the Saints. 6-6-42. Adelaide 2-5-17. The Saints back out by 25 points. As many minutes travelled in the second term. Grandstand AFL. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Well, yeah, they didn't change anything though, really, did they, Lids? We talked about getting players up the field and whatnot, but they just kept playing or attempting to play the same way and just managed to get one against the Tide.
Yeah, I wonder whether Jack Higgins has been that size since he was the under-12s, because he plays like a centre forward, doesn't he? It's like he's never grown since then. He's just used to hitting up at the footy, hitting the wings. But good reward, I suppose. Young Ronnie Burns, Corbin, I think he's been a little shining light, I think, for the Saints this year. A young bloke coming in and being able to just add something a little bit different. Good to get on the board for him, but you're right. Max King jumped about a week early, didn't he? Really mistimed that jump and just fell out the back.
So a timely goal for St Kilda as Adelaide was really coming. Now Steele is again playing for a free kick in the middle. He's wrapped the arms of Seedsman around him, held them in, and the umpire has paid the free kick to Steele. So he's doing that effectively. Not sure the Adelaide Crows players nor fans would be agreeing with a couple of those decisions necessarily. Steele from the centre circle. Thrust St Kilda deep inside, attacking 50 to a pack of about 6. King brings it to ground level. Underneath it, Loney couldn't get it. Socket out of defence for the Crows. Off the boot of Hamill. It has gone out of play, and the umpire says insufficient intent to keep the ball in. Caulfield a free kick near the St Kilda bench.
It's his first.
Nick Caulfield been playing forward. Goes forward. Riders in the pack. Up they fly. No mark. At the back, King there. Hamill's got a problem, overran the ball. Soccer towards goal. The toe poke's gone through. King kicks the goal. He's got a couple. And St Kilda gets the last 2 goals of the term, which is now at the 27-minute mark. Second quarter on Grandstand AFL. St Kilda 7-6-48. Adelaide 2-5-17. And all the Crows' good work has amounted to nothing. In fact, the margin has blown out again. 31 points.
Fortuitous, unfortunately, though, that the umpire deemed that deliberate. Soccer off the ground in greasy conditions. It's not like it just bulleted over the line either. It nearly checked and nearly stayed in. Unlucky, but St Kilda's gain there, I suppose. Get it in, and just good ability from Max King to stay involved and not allow them to soccer that ball out or clear it out easily. With the greasy conditions, you overrun it. Smart enough to just dribble it through. Toe poke.
Here's a stat for you. There was only 2 teams leading into this weekend that hadn't scored a soccer goal all season. St Kilda and Adelaide. And so now the Crows. The Crows are the only team without a soccer goal through 13 rounds of the AFL season as Max King bangs one in the back of the net for the Saints. Here's Keys as he kicks to centre-half forward for the Crows. Sinclair, though, chops it off. Hands it away to Caulfield. Spun around. Hand pass reaches the back flank to Hill, who tucks it under his arm and races away. Kicks into the middle of the ground, turns it over. O'Brien for the Crows. Quick kick back inside 50. And Tex is there, hugging it to his chest. And Tex Walker can shoot from 45 out, dead in front.
He needs to put this on the ground, go back like a striker and put it into the top left corner of the net, Corby.
A place kick, get the tee out.
But surely there's a message, they mightn't have time, but from the Saints, they've done a lot of hard work to now get their lead back to where it is. But 2 minutes, the old red time. Hill then just taking on there. He doesn't have to be that aggressive, but it's red time. Just be a bit more conservative going in half-time and take the lead.
His first look at them tonight. It's a wayward kick. Tex misses wildly out to the right. He was 2-6 last week, Tex. He's behind to start here, and we're closing in on half-time. 2-6 Adelaide, St Kilda 7-6. 30-point lead for the Saints, half-hour mark, second term.
Kick in was marked by Webster. He goes short and finds Billings in the left back pocket, still deep inside defensive 50 for the Saints. Kicks to the outer wing. Ryder can't impose. O'Brien takes the towering mark in the pack. On the Hill wing, the Crows find a late one to eat back into the lead. Hand pass goes around the back. Duday's kick is a shocker off the outside of the boot to half forward. Out on the full.
You give it to your good boys.
Stand on the line.
Some of the skill errors have been mystifying tonight.
No, stand on the line.
So it's going to be Jack Loney to bring it back into play. Hot minute left in his second term as we close in on half-time. 30-point lead for the Saints. Long contest kick down the line. Butts whacks it away from the back, but straight down to Crouch. Hand pass to Steele. His kick cut out just over halfway for the Saints. Higgins puts his head over it. Whacks it out, but straight to Keys. Hurried kick forward for Adelaide. Unkind bounce for Sinclair. It'll sit okay for Tex. 70 out. Turns and shoots goalward. Boy, he had the trip. It misses everything out to the right. That was a long drop punt on the right from Tex Walker. And out on the full it goes. So they've missed at least 3 completely in this quarter, Adelaide. They're 2-6 on the board, 3 out on the full. St Kilda are 7-6, a 30-point lead for the Saints, 31 minutes into the second term.
Webster from the left back pocket. Kicks towards the back flank. Ryder had it knocked away, roved by Billings. Billings to Crouch. A spiral to the wing for the Saints. King one-on-one. Punched away from him. At the full, McHenry tackled, ripped off it. Dunstan had a fumble. Hamill couldn't pick up. Socket out of the pack by Bytel. Higgins gets it off to Dunstan. Controlled it somehow. Evaded tackles. Gives to Loney. Loney had pass to Billings at left half forward. Back to Loney, 55 out, kicks to the pocket, skidding ball, gathered by Battle, hand pass to Higgins. Higgins balks, gets through, squaring ball, turned over almost. Butts didn't go at it. Rowe collects and Adelaide breathes a huge sigh of relief. Butts had a chance to mark, got in a miscommunication. The ball hit the ground, was alive for the Saints, but Rowe was there to collect and deny. 7-6-48 St Kilda. The Crows 2-6-18 at the half-time break on Grandstand AFL. The Saints kicked 3 goals, 3 in that second term after leading 27-0 at quarter time. And the Crows all of their 2 goals, 6 in that quarter. For the Saints, 2 goals to Mason Wood, 2 goals to Max King, a goal to Butler, a goal to Burns and a goal to Sinclair. For the Crows, McAdam and Smith have kicked their goals. The margin was as significant as 36 points before Adelaide had a score. The Crows then kicked a couple on end, reduced the margin to 19 before the Saints kicked the last 2 goals of the half.
They had a purple patch. They had 7 consecutive scores, Adelaide. As Hell said, but the last 2 of the quarter going the way of the Saints. So a 30-point buffer. It means that Adelaide, despite all their hard work working their way back into the term, they dropped the quarter. It's St Kilda by 27 at quarter time and now 30 at the half. The latest from the ABC newsroom coming up shortly, but some news out concerning Victorians. And the Premier, Dan Andrews, who tweeted 21 minutes ago and putting out a statement from the Premier's office, which in short reads, "This week I had another round of scans and a meeting with my care team at the Alfred and got some good news. I've been given the all clear to return to work soon. On Monday, 28 June, I'll be back to work and back to getting things done. I can't wait." The message from the Premier, Dan Andrews, who's back at work on the 28th of June.
Corbin, if you are going to read out any more messages from anyone associated with the Victorian government and have us all holding our breaths here around the table going, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, with the prospect of more lockdowns or something, could you just have said, Dan Andrews is coming back to work, the statement reads?
It was a bad setup. PTSD for a lot of people. I apologise. Get to the point sooner next time. But good luck to Dan as he makes his return to the office. Saints by 30 points. Everything else in the ABC newsroom coming up shortly. But first, the thoughts of our experts, Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard. Saints by 30 at the half.
I think it was, a missed opportunity probably for Adelaide to really get back into this game. They fought pretty hard. After Butler kicks that goal for the Saints, they've worked incredibly hard, as I said, to give themselves some opportunities, and they just weren't able to really capitalise. Well, I think he said they kicked 3 out in the full as well as the 2-6 that they kicked in that quarter. So, that's 11 shots on goal that they, quite a few of them are pretty gettable, you would have thought, but there were some tough ones in there as well. But credit to the Saints, I suppose. They weathered the storm enough, but not through real design, Beach, was it? They didn't really change up too much. They just kept meeting fire with fire and kept going about their game the way they have been, and they've just ultimately been too good across the board for the Crows. They've had probably too many passengers right across that haven't delivered on what they would have expected prior to the game.
Yeah, at least we saw a response from Adelaide, because it was heading in a disastrous kind of position for them, and for us calling a game was a big blowout, but there was a response. As you made mention, they dominated for a big chunk of that quarter, 10-12 minutes, playing the game in the right way, keeping the forward half, re-entries, number of good looks at it, didn't take their opportunities as reflected on the scoreboard, and then, as you made mention, Saints just got a couple just to extend their lead. So funny old quarter, that one. It was dominance from St Kilda in the first quarter, and then a bit of ebbs and flows in that quarter from both teams. So plenty of mistakes being made, so there'll be opportunities in this second half for Adelaide to get back into the game, being only 5 goals, so they just peg away this quarter, win this quarter, that old chestnut from the coach. I think that'll be the messaging, just about to win this quarter, just to set themselves up for the last quarter, just to give themselves a chance to actually win the game.
It'll go against the trend. So Adelaide is 0-12 in third quarters this year. They haven't won one at all after half-time. Now it's starting to become a trend when you look at those numbers. How do you combat that? Is it something that you address? Is it something they're doing at half-time? Do they need to break their routine? Or is it just a statistical anomaly that's the quarter they seem to be getting beat in?
No, I think a trend like that, you'd have to address it. I remember a time at Essendon we did that. We'll pour in third quarters. We talked about what we need to change kind of looked at all the details, what was going wrong, all the numbers, and then it came to a point where there was a number of things we were doing poorly in the third quarter, but we looked at our preparation at halftime and what we could change. Should we
change warm up,
change warm up, being more active, as opposed to coming out and seeing the third quarter and taking the first 5 minutes to actually get going again. But as we know, you can blink and all of a sudden you're 2 or 3 goals down. All the teams got a couple back on you. So, we looked at that. So maybe it's something like that, just changing their routine, shorten up the messaging too from the coach, not to spend too much time sitting down, and then get actively moving. So then get your heart rate in a position that when the ball is bounced at the start of the third quarter, it's as if you've already played 5 minutes of footy, because I feel that's where it needs to be, because I've seen too many times before guys going out. So that first run when you walk out the race and otherwise let's get going. You run out the ground, everyone's like, like this.
Worst.
I figured out, not so late in my career, but at that point you shouldn't be feeling like that. So you should have got that out of the way inside the room, so that you could go out there and when your boots touch the grass, you're arguably ready to go.
Just on Adelaide lids, so we're not a numbers broadcast. We like to say that every Saturday night, led by Brendan Goddard, our fierce,
that's right.
Fierce lead up.
All about damage.
Adelaide, just 21 marks in that first half. They've got the lowest number of marks in the competition, so they rank 18th in that category.
Yeah.
Is that sort of a reflection of their foot skills, that they just can't control the footy, or is it a way they're playing? So they've been beaten even tonight on a greasy night, 47-21 in that category.
Yeah, and their kicking efficiency is 48%. So of their 104 kicks, only half of them are hitting, or less than half are hitting. So it is a worrying stat. It's very hard to mark a ball that bounces. It's not even paid. So yes, mate, it is a worrying trend. I think being able to control the ball, especially when you're down and under the pump momentum-wise, that's when you can take a bit of sting out of the game and make a team defend for a while and really wear them down. But when you're constantly kicking to the ground and keeping the ball in motion, you're either trying to win it and you're working flat out, or you're defending, aren't you? Because you've turned it over and then you've got to chase back the other way, which is probably what we've seen and played into St Kilda's hands quite a bit tonight. So,
that's where I think they get what I've seen from them is that I don't think there's no slowing down for Adelaide. It's kind of all duck, no dinner. So they continually, which I think it's a clear message, is regardless of the situation of the game, boys, let's just try and ingrain this style of football. We saw it earlier. They were turning the ball over, trying to get it back through the corridor. Saints are a recipient of that. But I think it's just clear messaging saying, no, it's in a development stage, but let's play like this to really
build the foundations.
Instill a number of things offensively, but we'll cop it on the other end where we're going to make mistakes. We're going to have blowout games, but the opposition too, they've got to be on their game, because we've seen them score really heavily, really quickly in parts this year in quarters. Not so much in the second half as you alluded to with the stats, but I think it's constant. I don't think there's no slowing down for them. So they'll continue to come regardless of situation, regardless of scoreboard, regardless of the game. So Saints, that's what I think. It's only 5 goals. If they manage just to peg or keep St Kilda from those last couple, they're a massive chance, because they're going to keep coming. If they fix that stuff up around the ball and just become more consistent with that, which we alluded to prior to the game, which they've been really good at for long periods of this year, that they're going to be right in it, because they've got the ability, I think, regardless of the situation and the conditions tonight, more importantly, that they're just going to keep trying to shove it through the corridor and just keep exposing you defensively.
I know you're a bit more of a modern-day purist, Beach. You love the defensive elements of the game too, are important. But for a neutral supporter, watching Adelaide's good fun in that sense. That they're always taking the game on, cutting back through the middle and going at speed. They've got some work to do here at halftime. It's the Saints by 30 points, 7-6, Adelaide 2-6. And Annie off the SMS, I did hold my breath. Apologies, Annie and everybody else. I didn't mean to set it up with such theatre. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom. Second half action from Kazali Stadium in Cairns coming up. Saints by 30 points. This is Grandstand AFL. Let's see what's happening in the newsroom.
ABC News News with Satyam Weinstein. The acting Prime Minister says he doesn't agree with calls to allow a Tamil family being detained on Christmas Island to stay in Australia. Liberal MP Trent Zimmerman says the Murugappan family should be allowed to return to the Queensland town of Billawheeler. But Michael McCormack says that would send the wrong message on Australia's immigration policies.
What we don't want to see is the boats return. Trent was not in Parliament when some of those ships were lost at sea, some of those leaky boats were dashed up against rocks and all lives lost. I remember the heartache. I remember the loss.
Well, the flood risk in Traralgon in eastern Victoria has eased. There's community anger over why flood evacuation orders weren't issued sooner. On Thursday morning, the Traralgon Creek went into major flood, inundating more than 100 homes. Traralgon Flood Incident Controller Keith O'Brien admitted to a community meeting this afternoon the order to leave came too late. He says Traralgon Creek rose faster than they predicted.
We did get a rain event here on the Traralgon Creek that was much faster and more damaging than we had anticipated. The flood warnings were out. There was some generic stuff in there. The evacuation order was slow, and I apologise for that.
A Central Victorian Water Authority is using ultrasonic technology to find leaks in a broken water main after heavy rain and damaging winds lashed the region. Residents have been told not to drink the town's tap water until the authority can fix leaks under wet and disturbed land. Damien Wells from Colaban Water says the town's tank water supply remains steady.
Just got to keep working the problem. We will keep working the problem. We'll keep using that technology to see if we can find more leaks in the system. And I think there could be leaks on the customer side. And now that people have got mobile phones, communications back up and running, we certainly encourage people to let us know.
Investigations are underway to determine the source of Victoria's latest locally acquired COVID case. Yvette Gray reports.
Victoria's Health Department says one locally acquired infection was reported overnight, along with 3 new cases in hotel quarantine. The cases were detected from more than 15,000 test results yesterday and brings the number of active cases in the state to 74. There are now 7 infections in Victoria where authorities still don't know the acquisition source. The others include a reservoir household of 4 and 2 Victorians who travelled to Queensland before testing positive. Chief Health Officer Professor Brett Sutton says recent genomic testing links those cases to the Kappa strain circulating in the city of Whittlesea.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says Russia's relations with the United States have deteriorated to their lowest point in recent years. Speaking to the American network NBC, Putin called former US President Donald Trump a colourful individual, but says he can work with his successor, Joe Biden. Mr. Biden, who's attending the G7 summit in the United Kingdom, will meet with Mr. Putin in Geneva next week. Colombia's former president, Juan Manuel Santos, is apologising for the deaths of more than 6,400 people during his time as defence minister more than a decade ago. Troops killed thousands of civilians and then dressed them as left-wing rebels to meet quotas of enemies they were expected to kill. Mr. Santos spoke to the country's Truth Commission about what became known as the false positives scandal.
The chapter of the false positives is one of the most painful moments I've had in my public life and is an indelible stain on the honour of the army that has reason to boast but must also have the fortitude to recognise the truth and ask for forgiveness.
Hong Kong pro-democracy activist Joshua Wong remains in jail despite the release today of fellow young activist Agnes Chow. It's not yet clear why Ms. Chow was released more than 3 months before the end of her 10-month sentence. New research by Perth's Children's Hospital into the long-term use of Botox for children with cerebral palsy has shown it's safe and can be potentially life-changing. In WA, Botox was first used on children with cerebral palsy in 1995, making Perth's Children's Hospital one of the first paediatric centres to use it for a treatment. 15-year-old Falak Zaman has been getting injections to treat her cerebral palsy for 10 years. She says it helps immensely.
And really, my right hand really annoys me all the time, all day. Before the Botox is really annoying me, but after the Botox it's really calm and yeah.
ABC News.
Enjoying the footy? There's plenty more to discover. Catch up on all the best interviews and action from the weekend's coverage with the best of Grandstand podcasts. Visit ABC Sport Online wherever you get your favourite podcasts and the ABC Listen app.
What matters to you?
Justice. Family. Weather.
The region.
Safety.
What affects you?
Climate.
Wilder.
Extinction.
Bushfire.
Violence. Protest. Water. Over the road.
What inspires you?
Sport. Results. Rescue. Goals.
Space.
Future. Country. Laughter.
Stories matter. Trust matters. What matters is you. And what matters to you matters to us. ABC News. On your TV, radio, iView or the ABC News app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The Saints kick-out's coming back again. Berry hand pass away to Seedsman. Hurried kick inside the forward 50. Fogarty weren't without it. Here's Schomburg. Hand pass over to Walker. Links up with Keys. They're going to walk one in. Hand pass over to McAdam. And at last, the Crows have a goal.
McKay, I thought was going to see it over the boundary. Instead got held by Billings and will have the free kick for the Crows, which he sends inside the attacking 50. They're coming again. Up in front. Bill Thorpe involved. No mark. Smith gets it. Snaps for goal. 2 in a minute. Adelaide, yes!
Jack Steele. The 25-year-old sends it down to half forward. Jack Higgins takes the mark. Right half forward for the Saints. 60 out. Just lays it up top of the goal square. King went very early. Slips out the back to Burns. Hurried kick forward. Gets the kind bounce.
Riders in the pack. Up they fly. No mark. At the back, King there. Hamill's got a problem. Overran the ball. Soccer towards goal. The toe poke's gone through. King kicks the goal. He's got a couple.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
So the sounds there of the second quarter. This is Grandstand AFL. Kazali Stadium up in Cairns. St Kilda by 27 at quarter time and now by 30 at the half. It's just the 13th game that's been played at the venue and the first time that Adelaide and St Kilda have met there. In fact, it's the first time they've played anyone at the venue. All 46 players involved in the game tonight featuring at the ground for the first time. Corbin Middlemass, Al Nicholson, Brendan Goddard and Brett DeLidio. There was no late change here. There's been a sub made. Jack Bytel came into the game as the medical sub. Hunter Clark was involved in a heavy collision. Contesting the footy, David McKay came from the other direction and Clark's head bounced off McKay's shoulder. Now, he wasn't sort of bracing to bump. He had hands on the footy on the way through, so we're not expecting David McKay to be cited for that, but we have had difficulties in the past just interpreting the match review officer, so we hold our breath a little bit. The Crows were scoreless in the opening quarter. It's the first time that that's happened for the Crows in over a year, but just the 9th time in the history of the club. So Saints with the first 5 goals in the game. They led by 36 points. Adelaide had a purple patch in the second term, and the Saints kicked the last 2 goals of the quarter to lead by 30 at the half. Now in the NRL, the Canberra Raiders, half hour to go, lead the Brisbane Broncos 22-10. Carmichael Hunt making his return to the NRL tonight in the halves for the Broncos. And in the Super Rugby, the Waratahs and the Chiefs. It's half-time and the Chiefs lead the Waratahs 14 points to 7. The cricket, the test match which is going on between England and New Zealand. The Kiwis are 3 for 277 in response to England's first innings tally of 303. And if A-League's your jam, we're approaching injury time. It's 0-0 between Central Coast Mariners and Macarthur FC. The SMS 0437 774 774. Karen from Sunshine in Melbourne says, come on Adelaide. Barracking for the Crows. And Anthony in Adelaide says, do any AFL coaches listen to the radio or TV commentary during their team's matches?
Do they?
Lids or Beach?
I know
Surely
an ex-coach of mine used to have someone listening for him and he'd give us a little rundown at quarter time. He'd say, this is what Gary Lyon's been saying about you on Triple M. I was like, okay.
That can't be right. He'd listen to
He
games.
wouldn't. The coach wouldn't.
The coach wouldn't.
But he'd have someone doing it and write a few notes and that'd change the way we play. Wow.
That could be the VJ Goddard of the modern era. This is what Brendan Goddard's being, or Mark McClure.
Yeah.
Well, Silla's saying a few things, and that being read out at quarter or three-quarter time, that would make for interesting listening, I reckon.
I'm tipping they wouldn't care.
James in Q, good call so far, team. A question for BJ. Any feelings for the Saints when he sees them play?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
It's not good ones at the minute.
They're playing right. They're in front.
Oh, yeah.
30 points at half-time. St Kilda 7-6, Adelaide 2-6. Now the two inaccurate lads, Jack Higgins 0 and 1. He's kicking tonight, so he's missed the one shot at goal that actually skimmed off the post. And Max King's 2 straight, so he's been a little wayward in recent weeks. But they're the numbers for Max King tonight. 7-6 to 2-6, a 30-point lead for the Saints. The lead earlier today, of course, with Al Nicholson, Adam Ramanauskas and Cameron Ling. You had Steve Hocking on, footy boss, interesting chat. And also Jai Newcomb as well, had 14 tackles on debut last night. So that's in the Best of Grandstand folder in the podcast store if you want to catch up and listen to that, along with the rest of our content from across the weekend, which of course includes Corbin and Ben every Monday and Thursday from 5 p.m. and the voice of Goddard as part of that. Get Beege's debrief on the weekend of footy. Third quarter action here, Saints and Crows. St Kilda by 5 goals as we enter the third term on Grandstand AFL. You with Alistair Nicholson.
O'Brien and Ryder. O'Brien's won the battle tonight, but Ryder here palmed it down, then socket. Crouch gets it. His kick as he's slung to centre half forward for the Saints. No one could mark. Butler slides in to tackle. And it will be a ball up. Underneath the pack was Chase Jones. Launceston product. It'll be thrown in the air at centre half forward for St Kilda. Hunter goes this time against O'Brien. Knocked it down. And Steele's tackle on Sloane holds things up again. Sloane's been very quiet tonight. He's had only the 6 disposals, I think it is, Rory Sloane, to this point in the game. In fact, 4 disposals. 4 disposals to half-time for Rory Sloane.
You'd think a night like this would suit him.
Now, there's a free kick at the coalface here, and it's going to the Saints, to Brad Crouch. He's 55 metres from goal. I suspect just a fraction too far out. He's directly in front.
They're playing that in the back.
Yeah, that did not look to be a massive amount of contact there. Crouch is told to play on, sends a low kick inside the 50. Knocked down by McKay. Mason Wood goes after it. He's kicked a couple. Higgins punches it out for the Saints towards a dangerous position. Smith tackled, dispossessed, still to be won 20 metres from goal. Kelly knocked it, Laird, hands and knees, shoots it towards the boundary. Rowe will clear for the Crows. Kicked it straight to Hill, who dropped what he should have taken. Steele takes it. He's changed his boots. He kicks inside the 50. Ryder up in the pocket, can't mark. He gathers, he snaps. It didn't have any penetration. Off the hands of Butts. King gets it. Tackled by Butts. Hand pass is pinched by Hamill. Hand pass out. Comes to Crouch. Crouch snaps and puts it through. From 20 metres out against his former club. How that hurts. And how it hurts on the scoreboard as well. It's the Saints by 6 goals. They're going to have a look just to see whether it was touched or not. Crouch celebrates, though, with his teammates. They'll have a look as the players go back to the middle. But it appears likely it'll be 8-6-54 St Kilda. Adelaide 2-6-18. 2 minutes into the third quarter on Grandstand AFL.
It was just young Hamill there, I think, was just handballing out into nowhere, Al, as you call, but probably a chance to bang it on the boot, just clear the area a little bit more. Just entice, brings Brad Crouch in, basically handballed it straight to him. So always nice. I was never good enough to do it, to get a goal against your old team. Did you get one, Beach?
Yeah. I kicked one in my first game against Saints.
Yeah,
first goal of the game, yeah, it did really settled the nerves.
Restart back in the middle. It's out to 36. St Kilda's way, as wide as it's been. And Steele gets his opposing captain front on and a little high. And Rory Sloane letting out some of his frustrations on Steele as well as he lays off the hand pass. Away to Duday off the back of the square. Long kick deep forward, the mark. That'll do. Thilthorpe's got it. Reaching up and clunks it. We haven't seen too many of them in the humid conditions tonight.
Thilthorpe's given it to Howard, and Thilthorpe hasn't even touched it all night. He's already given it. So,
good, nice mark, though. Very nice mark for a young bloke to just stand tall and clunk those.
15 goals.
So, yeah, not sure what he was doing there, Corbs. I'll wait to you.
Pick 2, the teenager Riley Thilthorpe, the big thrill. He pops it through. He answers straight back for Adelaide to start the second half. Returns to a 30-point buffer the Saints way. 8-6-54. Adelaide 3-6-24. 4 minutes into the third term, and news through from the Saints. A broken jaw suspected for Hunter Clark after his earlier collision with David McKay. He was subbed out in the second term after that Collision with Dave McKay, so Jack Vitale into the game for the Saints. Lockie Scholl, the unused medical sub for the Crows.
Watch this space.
Yes, well, this is where that, I guess, the argument around intent or action and outcome comes to the fore here, because, as you say, that looked a clear football action, but it's resulted in a player with a broken jaw. And to put it in perspective, BJ, you could go up in a marking contest, someone could fly from behind and accidentally knee you in the back of the head or come from the side, as we saw Tim English taken out by Aaron Norton, as much as it's friendly fire. These sorts of things can happen in football.
Pure footy action, accidental.
Crows out of the middle. Laird gets it moving forward up towards centre half forward. Out came Walker, couldn't mark. Going after it for the Saints. Steele collects. He's got the fluoro greens on, having changed out of the blue boots. Hand pass comes to Hill. Hill kicks beautifully to the wing to Crouch. Defensive side of the broadcast wing. Looping hand pass 25 metres. It floated to Dunstan. Dunstan near the boundary line. His low kick is a horror. Who was that to? Kelly manhandled by Wood. Free kick Adelaide, right half back.
Did such a good job there to Saints create the overlap, and Dunstan needed to find battle there that was only a couple of metres, or 5 metres, maybe even a kick by the time he lobbed it to him, but then they create an overlap further down the field.
Horror turnover as Kelly tried to go short, missed his intended target, and Brodie Smith kicks it straight to Battle on the wing. Pumps it long back to half forward. Duday over the back, spoils for the Crows. Hamill collects, gang tackled, taken to ground. The ball up half forward for the Saints.
Right.
Just repeating, Adelaide 0-12 in their third quarters this year. It's been a real problem for them. A goal each to start the third quarter here. Back to 30 points the Saints' way as it was at the half. The Rucks share it. Spills down to Dunstan on his knees. Gets a hand pass out to Higgins' advantage. Soccers it forward, but it's out of play. Just made 5 metres or so. And a throw in, 45 out from the Saints' goal.
They've done a good job then to get 4 wins. They're 0-12 from their third quarter. They've had to do it the hard way, you'd assume. Well, they've had a stupidly big lead.
5-goal lead at the moment for the Saints. O'Brien attacks the throw-in, palmed it down. Butler overran it. Hamill got it. He's caught by Crouch. Crouch then ripped the ball away from him without waiting for the umpire's decision. Going through Laird, he's tackled. Laird so many times tonight has been underneath the packs, trying to farm it out. Sloane's in there now, paddling. Laird Soccers, it goes out of play. Left half forward for St Kilda, in front of a bay of colourful yellow and blue seats. Out in the open air. That humid air in Cairns tonight, but no rain. The main grandstand heavily populated. The hill as well. It's a nice sight in Cairns in North Queensland. Tap down O'Brien to Laird. Laird kicks off the half-back flank for Adelaide. Ricochets. Berry caught by Steele. Dispossessed. No free kick. Seedsman gets it. Hand pass to Laird. Hand pass to Keys. They're away, the Crows.
Hand pass inboard to Berry as Berry lowers his vision. Hits up Fogarty. Takes the mark. 60 out at half forward. He goes wide to McAdam. No one stands the mark. He plays on. Ignores Rowe. Heads for home. It sways across the goal face. Tex competes on the line and he's held without it. Wilkie gives away the free, and Tex right on the behind line will get the free kick. Sharp angle. And he'll open up the angle and try to bend it through here. He's just a metre outside the goal square. And for Tex, this will be like shelling peas. He opens up the angle and thumps it straight through. Walker with his first of the night. He's had to wait until the 8-minute mark of the third term. Adelaide draw within 4 goals. St Kilda 8-6, Adelaide 4-6. 8 played third term. Grandstand AFL, Brennan Goddard, Brett Delidio.
It was a good bit of play from half back. I thought they were a little bit lucky. Could have been caught holding the ball. Did enough though to cough it up, get it out. Seedsman was the one, flicks it out. Then they had some overlap run. Keys,
Berry.
and then Berry. And that's that mark stuff we were talking about earlier. Corb was actually hitting a target and being able to hold on to the footy. Fogarty turns around, kicks it on to McAdam. I wasn't sure about his decision. Should he have knocked that on to young Jimmy Rowe or not? He decided to have a shot, and Wilkie just out of position. Grabbed onto the jumper, and Texas got one on the board for himself.
Here we go. O'Brien and Ryder to go at it again. Ryder straight lining. O'Brien coming from the side. Tap down to Steele. He's tackled by Sloane. High up and under. O'Brien rises off his hands. Sloane gets it. Hand pass through the pack was good. Seedsman Penetrating kick inside the 50. Walker the target. Highmore back with a flight. He's had some night. Must be his 5th or 6th intercept mark. Gave to Webster. Webster's kick missed the target of Bytel. Sloan a chance to contest. He bumps him out of the way. McPherson tackled by Bytel. Hand pass affected. Smith gets it. Stripped away from him by teammate Sloan, who wore one in the face as he slid down and clattered into the knee of Bytel. That left him a little shaken, and Sori's up and okay. It'll be a ball up on the broadcast wing.
They've kicked 4 of the last 6 in the game, Adelaide, after St Kilda kicked the first 5 of the night. From the restart, Steele just threw it out. Umpire says it's okay. Keys sockers it forward once, twice. Then Burns tugs without it. Schomburg had him. And a free kick to go St Kilda's way. Ryan Burns to take it back flank. Some indecision. He's going to come back down the western wing in front of the main grandstand at Kazali Stadium. Big fly from Ryder. Can't pull it down. Duday through traffic. Coughs it up. Steele for the Saints. Hand pass away to Wood across the half-forward line. Sweeping hand pass to Long at centre half-forward. Chips the pass into the path of Loney. It didn't reach him in time. Skids off the surface and through for a behind. Just tried to lay it up to Loney, top of the goal square. Missed him with the kick. And it rolls through for a minor score. Humid night, 87% humidity up in Cairns. And Saints now by 25.
Seedsman thumps it in. Walker goes up through his hands. Socket the Crows way into the middle of the ground. A one-on-one there. Highmore got it, did well. Hand pass to Burns through heavy traffic. Hand pass to Steele. Kicks and killed it towards full forward. A one-on-one McPherson and Higgins. It gets to the back of that contest and bounces over the boundary line next to the right behind post. Saints in attack, leading by 25 points. On Grandstand AFL, we've played 11 minutes of the third quarter.
1 metre. No other games tonight in the AFL, just one earlier today. Freo by 27 over the Suns. From the throw-in, the ruck share it, spills down to Seedsman. Tackled as he kicks, skids out to half-back. The Crows looking for a free kick through Rowe. They won't get it. The Saints hook it back inside the forward 50 from Burns' kick. Higgins can't mark. Crouch inventive, hacks it out of mid-air, but he's missed the whole set. Out on the full, missing to the near side. St Kilda by 25. They've got it locked in their front half here. 12 minutes into the third term. Saints by 25.
Duday to bring the ball back into play for the Crows. Sees the hill side of the ground as his best option to the pack. Belted back inside the attacking 50. Worrell there, slides onto it. Takes it over the boundary line. Right forward pocket for the Saints, 25 metres from goal. St Kilda 8-7-55, Adelaide 4-6-30. 12 played of the third quarter. The Saints led by 5 goals at half-time. Ryder takes front position, palmed it down. No one at the feet. Steele knocked off it. Picked up in the pack by Sloan. Knocked it out the side. Worrell couldn't get it. Socket by Bytel in the road. Seedsman jams it on the boot. Clearing ball to the back flank. Walker in front of Wilkie. Couldn't mark. It spills to Highmore. Caught by Berry. Ball dislodged. Wilkie gets it off to Long from right half forward. Kicks inside 50 to the pocket. Playing in front. Ryder. Marks on his chest. His large frame. Too much for Josh Worrell on debut to contend with. He's got it 35 metres out. Hard angle right forward pocket.
It was a big kick, Paddy. Adelaide feel like they're grinding their way back into the game. This to extend the lead again, back out to 31 points. But if Adelaide have managed just to get the next one, then I think it's game on. So big kick for the Saints.
Ryder comes inside the 50. Kick looks okay off the boot, but it's just a fraction narrow and missing. A behind makes the margin 26 points the Saints' way. 13-minute mark, third term Grandstand AFL with Al Nicholson, Corbin Middlemass, Brett Deledio and Brendan Goddard.
Hunter Clark subbed out with a suspected broken jaw after a collision earlier with David McKay. The Crows yet to use their Medi sub. And it's Lockie Scholes still in the warm-up top. Free kick for Fogarty trying to mark the kick out. He was taken high by Howard, so he comes wide to Smith, who had to studs up into Ryan Burns, takes the mark, sort of Toby Green-esque. Swings a hand pass inboard to Chase Jones. Goes away to Sloan, who goes back to Smith by hand, and Brodie Smith kicks his cannon long inside the forward 50. Tex with a big leap. Couldn't pull it down, skims off his fingertips. Long whacks it straight back to Tex. Hand pass to Seedsman, away to Jimmy Rowe, and he pops it through on the goal line. Boy, there was a bit happening in all of that. James Grove finishes it off with a major. The Crows have kicked 3 on the bounce for the first time tonight. Adelaide cut St Kilda's lead to 20. Crows 5-6-36. Saints are 8-8-56. What have we travelled now? 6 minutes into this third term Grandstand AFL. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. 14 minutes, in fact, into the quarter.
I'm not sure what happened there with the St Kilda's defence. After Tex went for that big fly, he was nearly the first bloke back onto it, and then their winger. What happened to their winger? BJ, Paul Seansman's just standing there by himself.
It looked like none of the St Kilda, from that initial marking contest you just made mention, Tex really took a hanger, that they all just didn't leave the contest and they were caught ball watching. And then they end up with two guys standing in the goal square.
Goal square by themselves.
And Ben Long belted the ball back towards the goal square where it was picked up.
Yeah, and that was a fumble too. He had the chance, just a bit of time and space on that first gather, but the fumble just brought the pressure. And then Adelaide swooped on it.
Still feels like this game's right in the balance. Thilthorpe's gone into the middle, had it lost at Sloane, knocked off at Bytel, hand pass away to Dunstan, a balk and a left foot kick inside the 50, was partially touched. Dribbles past Higgins into the pocket. Butts collects. He runs into Higgins. That's a one-handed hand pass. No free kick. King gets it. He dances around one. His hand pass goes through the hands of Higgins. It's over the boundary line. Left forward pocket. I think there was a good case for St Kilda to get a free kick for illegal disposal there. A boundary throw in 25 metres from the Saints' goal.
The Saints with the first goal of the term. Adelaide with the next three. So they're winning the quarter in the premiership term for the first time this year. The Saints by 20. They've got it deep forward from the throw-in. Thilthorpe skims off his knuckles. Sloaney tries to soccer it through, straight to Kelly. Hands it away to McPherson. Last line, kicks it to the back pocket, and Seedsman marks. Well, his two ones are incredibly close together, Paul Seedsman. It's almost like a rectangle on his back. The two number ones for the number 11 as he goes long out towards Tex Walker on the wing. Spills the mark, falls to McAdam. Hill wraps him up. Ball spilt, spits out the back. Picked up here. Bottom of the pack by Hamill. It's going to be held to him, and we'll have a ball up high half forward for the Saints. 20-point lead for St Kilda, but Adelaide have kicked the last three.
Tossed in the air. Thilthorpe against Hunter. Thilthorpe the win. Burns the rove. Hand pass over his head was speculative. Schonberg picked up. Got it out to Thilthorpe. A couple of the youngsters involved. Off to Seedsman. His hand pass. Oh, Hill with a huge bump. Feld led. He's okay. It was a big bone rattler, though, and the Crows are breaking away. McHenry, a hand pass to Rowe. Rowe from the attacking side of the wing, kicks to Walker. Up he goes. Berry in front. Rowe by McKay. A bouncer. Once, twice through. McKay goals on the run from 40 metres out, and this is a run for Adelaide. 4 on end. It's as close as it's been in a long time. The Crows reduced the margin to 14 points. 17-minute mark, third term on Grandstand AFL. St Kilda 8-8-56. Adelaide 6-6-42.
We made mention grinding away. Now they've got momentum. So the crowd's up and about. We're up and about. Finally something's happening in this game, but it's hard to believe that they're looking at a scoreless first half, and all of a sudden, I think they were down by 30. What was the largest margin?
36.
36 points down, and they're now within 14 points. So danger signs, but nothing's changing for the Saints. He's four. What'd you say? 4 or 5 in a row. Like just something changed. Nothing's changing. Team defence there. A number of the small forwards get involved in the play. They've obviously been up in play and then reset as forwards and got on the end of it. But St Kilda has to change something.
High bounce back in the middle. 14-point game. Sockered forward by the Saints. Out to meet it. Wood, who slips over. Higgins collects the loose footy. Hand pass back into dispute. Caulfield wins it. Kelly's got him. Spun around in the tackle. Comes out to Crouch. Eventually gets it to Webster. Hurried kick forwards, a turnover. Hamill chops it off. Hand pass to Laird. Sends a spiral up into the front half. Tex comes up and marks. Just forward of the centre circles. Turns, looks inside the forward 50. McHenry back with it. Kicks it over his head. McHenry ironed out by Highmore. Numbers with the Saints. Sinclair collects the loose ball. High up and under the halfback, straight to Seedsman. Takes the intercept mark, 70 from home. They're queuing up in the corridor. He picks out the only Saint. Dunstan was the only man there in a St Kilda jumper. Takes the intercept mark at centre halfback.
And now the Saints on the counter. The kick goes to Long at halfback. He kicks to the wing. Beautiful use of the body. Jones edged out Higgins and took the mark on his chest, and the Crows have it again. Infield kick to the middle. Laird, been very prolific. Coming off 40 possessions, a season high last week against the Pies. He goes short to McPherson. McPherson, another chip pass. Hamill's got it the attacking side of the circle. Hand pass to McPherson. Dink kick to centre half forward. Down on his knees to take the mark. Schonberg now uses it short, not 15. Fogarty took it. Back to Schonberg. Caught from behind, top of the 50. Kicks to the pocket. Walker has impeded Wilkie in the marking contest. Chopped the arms. And a free kick to the Saints in the left back pocket. Was that 15? I've seen a lot shorter kicks paid marks.
Jeez, what was Tex doing there?
A forearm right in the back of the head. Missed a game from debut, Cal Wilkie. North Adelaide Premiership in 2018 and played round 1 2019 for the Saints. Hasn't missed since. Long kick up to the wing. Butler races out with the footy, gives it to Dunstan. Hand pass away to Sinclair. Fumbles, lost it. Kelly knocks it to McHenry. Hand pass out to the wing for the Crows to Keys. Lost the footy, regathers. Gives it to Duday. Back to Keys. Surge kick high up and under to centre half forward. Underneath it, Berry. Good fist from Caulfield. Now another fumble from Burns. Berry attacks it front on. Wins it for the Crows. Hand pass out to Seedsman. Tucks it under his arm and takes on Hunter. Long kick in the Walker direction. Competes. Follows up. Fends off Long. Spits out a hand pass towards McAdam. He's lost it too. And Caulfield can clear for the Saints.
He just booted it out of defence and it fell for Dunstan. Gives to Crouch under pressure. Back to Dunstan under pressure. Jams it on his boot towards the wing at 2-on-2. Worrell comes to meet it. He's tackled over the boundary line at the interchange gates. And it'll be tossed back into play.
That is a rude haircut, isn't it?
That's one of the worst I've seen.
It's got the shaven bit up around the ears and then the dead straight Greg Anderson mullet going. It's a beauty.
It's almost like the old school undercut that we probably used to have when we were about 12.
Thrown in.
With a mullet.
The times are changing. What became Daggy's coming back. Ball back out of play on the wing.
Must have a foot on the line. Josh Worrell, by the way, the man we're speaking about, the 20-year-old on debut.
It's from Bentley in Victoria.
Imagine rolling that haircut on like your debut back in the day. Do you reckon you would have copped it?
Wow.
You wouldn't have even got to that point because one of your teammates would have walked up behind you in the showers or something and chopped it off.
Yeah.
One of the old blokes. And he said,
You're kidding yourself.
I'm not copping that, mate. Get rid of it.
There's plenty of time to talk mullets because the ball's gone back over the boundary line with no clean disposal.
Or the coach would have said it. Grant and Rossi early days used to have a fair bit to say about what your hair look like.
Sixth debutant this year, Josh Worrell for the Crows from the boundary throw-in. First possession to Jack Steele, who turns and kicks it long inside the forward 50. Wood got rid of his opponent, got a hand on the footy, but it spills out of play. In fact, Butler keeps it alive. Whacks it back to Wood's advantage. Hand pass away to Loney, shut down, caught, holding the ball. Oh, it's been called high contact first. And a free kick to Jack Loney. He was gang tackled, trying to wrong foot Duday. Hamill and Duday lay the tackle, and Loney is going to be rewarded with a free kick. It was Duday, the second man in, who got him high. And a left footer can have a shot here from the left forward pocket.
That's it. Half a metre more. Please, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those collapsing into those tackles to try and draw. I'm probably not a fan, though, because I was no good at it. But
he's a culprit.
He is.
Serial.
Yeah, does it a lot.
So it looks like he's going to set up for a
banana.
But he's a left footer, so he'll probably kick it on the outside of the left boot. He does. Cops the fat part of the footy. It was an interesting approach and wildly misses across the goal face. Small forward for the Saints. He's been goalless in 8 of his 10 games. Jack Loney dropped, recalled tonight. He's 4 goals, 5 on the season, and that was an unusual setup. A 15-point lead for the Saints on the back of that behind. Time on in the third. Crows with the last 4 in the game.
McPherson down the middle at the kick-in. Unable to mark was McHenry. On the ground, picked up by Thilthorpe. He's tackled, dispossessed. Keys under pressure, had a fresh area at it. And he'll be pinged for holding the ball. St Kilda free kick. It'll go to Crouch. Crouch's numbers pretty good tonight. 26 disposals. Still got plenty of time until three-quarter time. Kick goes across the front point of the square, and Highmore with another mark for the Saints. He's taken 10 marks tonight, Tom Highmore.
Play on.
And this kick will be a penetrating one to the forward pocket. A pack of about 6. King in it rises. Can't take the mark. That Loney kick at goal was extraordinary. You see the players sometimes try and snap them through when you'd think the drop punt would be the conventional option from a minor angle and close range, but to banana it. Haven't seen that before.
Shows how confident he is in his own kicking ability.
But for a small foot, it's your absolute craft, isn't it, BJ? That's your...
King wins the tap
one.
from the boundary throw in. McKay clears defensive 50 for the Crows. Long tries to crawl through the legs of Phil Thorpe to retrieve it. Spills down to Ryder. Sockers inside 50 for the Crows. Up to beat it Dunstan. Thought he was taken high. No free kick. Kelly collects for the Crows. Dispossessed in the tackle. Sloan has a go. Gets a free kick. He was taken high. Sloan at centre half back. We'll get the free for Adelaide. So the Crows are 6-6. Saints are 8-9. It was a game-high 36 points, St Kilda's lead earlier in the quarter. Goals to Phil Thorpe, Walker, Rowe and McKay, the last 4 for the Crows. And they're winning the quarter, have closed the margin of the game to 15 points. A long kick finds Chase Jones on the wing. He straightens up and Brodie Smith has it on the logo.
Hand pass to Jones. Jones kicks the Crows inside the 50. Separation for Phil Thorpe, but he can't gather at his bootlaces. It slides his way at ground level off to Rowe. Off to Laird, his kick smothered by Long. Over the boundary line, right forward pocket, Long pushes Laird. Laird retaliates. Bit of heat in the game, and the gap is closing. This is game right on in Cairns. A throw in 40 metres from the Adelaide goal. Right forward pocket, Ryder and O'Brien to contest it. Ryder takes front position, palms it down. Unable to take it was Howard. Ryder tries to clear it. Socket further afield out of the pack by Crouch. Near the boundary line, Kelly for the Crows. Battle with him. Kelly's still over it. Needs to knock it out. Does so. Had support from McPherson, but Loney gets a hold of it. Here's ball towards the half-forward flank. The foot race on, and getting back is Jones of Adelaide to clean it up inside defensive 50. He brushes Wood once, but not a second time. He's caught. Just got boot to ball. Just. Butts collect. He's tackled. Hand pass out to Hamill. He's tackled. His kick affected, dribbles towards the line. And defensive side of the wing for Adelaide. It'll be tossed back into place and Kilda by 15.
Litz's man just thought he had a bit more time after he'd chucked out a little ball.
Oh, my man, Chase Jones, a bit of urgency needed from the young fella. He just thought he'd just waltz out of the back line.
Just his 29th game. Chase Jones, top 10 pick in the national draft a few years back. Shallow throw in. O'Brien reaching over the top, whacks it towards the bell, taps it towards the boundary line, goes back and collects his own ball, hands it to Smith, tumbles a kick down the wing, thumped away from Fogarty over the boundary line, and Brad Hill happy to see it out. He's got Schomburg for McHenry rather for company. A little bit of a confrontation as he gets up and runs back into the field of play. Remembering Adelaide was scoreless, by the way, at quarter time in this game. The Saints scored the first 36 points of the match. Adelaide have kicked the last 4. St Kilda by 15. For the boundary throw-in, McHenry tries to collect and inadvertently comes off his calf and over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in again right in front of the interchange benches. Good roll-up. The record attendance here is just over 11,000. There's not quite that many in. It was a game you played in Lids, a Richmond Gold Coast game back in 2013.
Oh, the one we won. Beautiful.
Thrown in Ryder, the clean tap down. Picked up by Billings. Hand passes out to his own advantage. Coming the other way, Duday picked up Billings, got a hold of him. Managed to get a hand pass to Smith. His kick bounces over O'Brien. No small feet. Picked up by Keys. Keys kicks Adelaide to half forward. An errant kick. And guess who? Dougal Howard peeling off to take the mark in defence. He's reliable back there for the Saints. And he's got it at left half back. Howard brings it to the broadcast side. Steele the target under pressure from Sloan. Couldn't take the chest mark. Went to ground. Sloan now takes it. Dropped the knees. Got collared high. Play goes on inside 50 kick. Wilkie knocked it away from Walker. Walker held on to him. He's having a few moments with Wilkie. He's tangling up. He's pushing and shoving. He's puffing out his chest, Taylor Walker. His side is trailing by 15 points at the 28-minute mark of the third.
So Wilkie with a long contest kick again down the western wing. Leaping for it, King, no mark. Spills down to Crouch, hurried hand pass to Steele, back to Sinclair. Across the body, swings his kick back down the wing. Hand on it from Kelly on the way through. From opposite directions, Woods and Jones bang bodies, slips through to Hamill. He's taken high. And Will Hamill will get the free. It was Dunstan making contact. And Adelaide back with the footies. He goes all the way back to Smith at centre half back. Pokes his kick in the middle for Keys. Didn't quite get to him. Caught the half volley. Tangled by Wood. He's in trouble. Keys. He's been pinned holding the ball. And Mason Wood will take the free inside the centre square. Moves it on quickly. Kicks very wide. It's off target. Higgins chasing after it. Takes on Worrell. Worrell tackles him over the boundary line. And Josh Worrell, the 20-year-old on debut, forces the neutral ball. A throw in left half forward for the Saints. About 50 out. Closing stages of the third term. Saints by just 15 now.
It's one of the reasons Adelaide's 18th for marks.
Yep.
Slightly missed kick and dropped something that's at his ankles.
O'Brien guards front spot. The throw-in went over his head. Right, it palmed it down. Led, flicked it out the side, but straight to Hill of St Kilda. Hand pass to Loney in the pocket. Oh, he tries to go for goal on his preferred left. Hit the outside of his boot and went into the crowd. Missed everything by a long way.
There's something in the water at Lynn Street. What's going on? Seriously.
Yes.
They're all looking like having the yips.
Well, players like Butler and Higgins and Loney, the little guys are in the team that you would expect to be proficient in front of goal. Some of the worst culprits, BJ. Kick goes out towards the wing. Longer big spoiled. Taken by McKay. His kick off his back went nowhere. Burns gets it, tackled by opposite 31 row. Ball spills out. Burns pushes off row. Gathers. Left foot kick to half forward. Through the hands of Jones. King coming the other way for St Kilda. Got Butts for company. Picked up by Billings. Bouncing ball through the attacking 50 and over the boundary it goes. At right half forward for the Saints. 8-9-57 St Kilda. Adelaide 6-6-42. 30 minutes have elapsed in this third term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, right at the minute, you literally wouldn't have any of their forwards have a shot for goal to win the game at the minute. You wouldn't want any of them to have the ball in their hands.
And the boundary throw.
It's not a good sign, is it?
It's gone straight back out.
Memory's battled.
He came good
in the past.
He was bad. Came good.
He's come good. He's better than what he was. But at the minute,
it's not without possibility of happening tonight either, BJ.
Yeah, that's true.
Almost 70% of the game being played in the Saints' front half. For the boundary throw-in, spills to Jones. Kicks down the wing, though, for Adelaide. Chopped off Howard. Played in a few big games against the Crows, of course, and another life at the power to Sinclair and away to Long. Hooks his kick down to half forward. Billings almost lost it in the lights. It bounces on its point. And Jones happy to whack it out of play. So a throw-in, 60 out from the Saints' goal at half forward. Adelaide have won their last 4 final terms. So when you haven't won a third quarter all year and you've still won 4 games, as you said, Beach, you have to finish at least in some of them in the final quarters. It's their best performing term this year, having won 7 of the 12. From the boundary throw-in, Brodie Smith, surge kick forward. First one back, though, is Howard. Hand pass away to Wilkie. Swings it across the back line out into open space on the western wing. Chase on for the footy. Loney trying to whack it forward. Wayne Harms-like. Can't get full purchase on it. Wood goes the fend off and he's caught. Seatsman got him holding the ball. The Crows have got a hot minute here left in this third term. Seatsman runs straight past the man on the mark. There's an incident here off the footy. And the umpire's paid a free kick for a high tackle off the ball. It's up by Nick Brown and it's going the way of Loney, who was being shepherded and shepherded illegally against Tom Duday. So free kick for Jack Loney, defensive side of the wing. Saints by 15, approaching three-quarter time.
Loney kicks to a contest on the wing. It's off hands. Swooping on it, McHenry. He's tackled by King. Dispossessed. King's hand pass now. Pinched by Hamill. Off to Jones of Adelaide. His kick around the body. Straight to Highmore.
I put $100 on it. Loney milked it for everything.
I was thinking the same thing.
Highmore has just racked up mark after mark. 11 marks for this improving Saint. Kicks towards the boundary line on the wing. It comes to the back of the pack. Dunstan's kick inside the 50 off the outside of the boot will stay in play. Bouncing ball. Higgins, it skids away from him. So when the ball is pitched tonight, typically in the humid conditions, it's skidded on. Gone over the boundary line. Left forward pocket. Saints in attack with seconds until three-quarter time and a 15-point lead.
I'm 98% sure then he just tried to kick a tall. Did he just try and kick a tall?
It looked like it.
Boundary throw-in, final stages of the term. O'Brien wins it down. Lairds hand pass wide to Seedsman. Went to soccer it. Couldn't get full purchase. Maloney picks it up right on the horn. The Crows have won a third term. For the first time this year, they kicked 4-1 in the quarter. And they've come to was a 36-point deficit earlier in the quarter to just 15 at three-quarter time. It's St Kilda 8-9-57, Adelaide a 6-6-42, and a 15-point lead for the Saints. As we turn for home, the goal kickers, Max King has two for Mason Wood, and then one each to Crouch, Butler, Burns and Sinclair. While for Adelaide, they've had 6 goal kickers, all with individual goals for the night. 1 to McAdam, 1 to Smith, Thilthorpe, Walker, Rowe and McKay. It's three-quarter time, Saturday night footy, Kazali Stadium up in Cairns on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand, AFL.
Australia Talks is back on ABC TV and iView. Where do you fit?
We asked 60,000 Australians more than 600 questions, and the results are fascinating. 1 in 3 Australians don't know their neighbours by name. Hey, Greg.
My name's Jason.
Join Annabelle Crabb and Nazim Hussain for a nationwide event.
We'll reveal how Australia feels about pretty much everything.
See where you fit on Australia Talks, Monday the 21st of June on ABC TV and streaming on iView.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Inside the 50, Ryder up in the pocket, can't mark. He gathers his snaps, it didn't have any penetration. Off the hands of Butts, Kings gets it. Tackled by Butts, hand pass is pinched by Hamill. Hand pass out, comes to Crouch. Crouch snaps and puts it through.
Sloan letting out some of his frustrations on Steele as well as he lays off the hand pass. Away to Duday off the back of the square. Long kick deep forward, the mark. That'll do. Thilthorpe's got it. Reaching up and clunks it. Pick 2, the teenager Riley Thilthorpe, the big thrill. He pops it through. Brodie Smith kicks his cannon long inside the forward 50. Tex with a big leap. Couldn't pull it down. Skims off his fingertips. Long whacks it straight back to Tex. Hand pass to Seedsman. Away to Jimmy Rowe and he pops it through on the goal line.
Seedsman, his hand pass. Oh, Hill with a huge bump. Phil Blair, he's okay. It was a big bone rattler though, and the Crows are breaking away. McHenry a hand pass to Rowe. Rowe from the attacking side of the wing kicks to Walker. Up he goes. Berry in front. Rode by McKay. A bouncer. Once, twice through.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Sounds there of the third term. The Crows making a run. They're warming up. They've kicked the last 4 in the game after trailing by 36. They're now within 15 at three-quarter time. And by the way, they didn't score at all in the opening quarter. They were scoreless, the Crows, against the Saints, who now have to protect a 15-point buffer with Adelaide back in the game. Off the SMS, who won this afternoon's game? Well, Fremantle won this afternoon's game. I've been telling you throughout the night. The Dockers won by 27 points. They beat the Suns. Thought they would have got around by now. Freo by 27 points. And David Mundy, by the way,
do they not have? Oh, they have a phone because they just text in.
Yeah,
right.
It's what the ABC's for. It's happy to give the around the ground scores. David Mundy, who is part of our commentary team tomorrow,
Big Barra,
for the West Coast Richmond game. He's actually going to be our guest tomorrow. Lids on Grandstand AFL Sunday.
Perfect.
So we'll be able to chat to David Mundy in his capacity as the acting captain for Fremantle and future games record holder.
Barra overkill.
Touch wood. And then he'll be part of the call team later in the day. So just nice synergy on Grandstand AFL tomorrow. What does BJ think of King asking Matthew Lloyd for help with his goal kicking from Gale in Launceston?
So, King, they should all be on the text tomorrow and ask Lloydie. I'm free if you want me, Saints.
You're a half-back, mate. You weren't a goal-kicking forward. What are you talking about?
Oh, mate.
You teach him how to kick a drop punt, I suppose. That'll help.
I slot him when I need to.
Yeah, well, true. Very true.
Didn't have too many shots to go. But it's extraordinary. I just saw some of the things I just saw from the Saints then. Lids in here is shaking our head kind of behind your call because we can't jump in. But just that kick from Dunson at the end, trying to kick a torp from 70 out. He had isolation with Higgins in the pocket, just need to kick it to his advantage. He didn't have separation, that's fine. Loney's kick where he tried to kick a banana from 35 out on a slight angle. Like, what? Where's the accountability? That's low percentage. It's just ridiculous what they're doing. So it's just some of the things I'm just seeing. So no wonder Adelaide are back in the game. But if that continues, like, in all honesty, if it continues into next week or the rest of the year, they have to be held accountable for this.
Who does? Who holds them accountable?
Well, exactly. That's why I'm asking the question and it raised my eyebrows, because Liz, if any of us back in the day had done that at the Saints, you could expect to be off the ground within a matter of seconds and you'd be handed the phone, because there was just a standard within the team that things like that, play the percentage, do the percentage thing. There was probably only one guy that went outside of that, and as a forward anyway.
Who was it?
S. Milne. He'd get away with a little bit. But the rest of us knew. You'd cop it on the ground if you did something like that. So it's little things like that, and Adelaide are right in it. There was a bit of a scrap there in the last probably 8 to 10 minutes, wasn't it? Because Adelaide had kicked, I think, got within 14. So there was only one other score with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. So right in it. You made mention, Corbs, Adelaide win their third quarter of the year, so that's a real positive. And another stat you reeled off is that their fourth quarters have been their best. So within reach, as we talked about, going in to the third quarter, they need to be in there right there with, arguably their best quarter of the year in front of them.
Lids?
Yeah, mate, I'm super impressed. A guy like the team hasn't been performing that well, but Jack Steele continuing to put up really good performances and leading this side. First year as captain, and just basically leading by example, saying, "Righto, boys, we're not playing that well, but follow me. I'm going to lead the charge." 29 touches, 16 of them contested, 8 clearances, and 11 inside 50s already. Still with a quarter to play.
Saints by 15 points. Game on the line as we enter the final term on Grandstand AFL. As Ryder palms it down for the Saints, but Laird gets the centre break for the Crows. Kicks out to half forward. Howard trying to mark on his chest. Bounces straight off. Berry collects it for Adelaide. He's dumped in the tackle. Thilthorpe charges through traffic. Hand pass away to Sloan. Long high kick into the forward pocket. Tex palms it down clever. Rose snaps it goalward. Needs a kind bounce. Doesn't get it. Missing to the near side, so back to 14 points. Again, as close as Adelaide have been since they first scored. And by the way, that happened in the second quarter. After a scoreless opening term, Saints by 14 points. 40 seconds into the final term. Corbin Middlemass, Alistair Nicholson, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Hill on kick-in duties for the Saints. Kick to the back flank. Dunstan was there. He was bodied up, couldn't get near it. And from the bootlaces of Ryder, who couldn't collect it, goes out of play over the boundary line and will be thrown back in at right half forward for the Crows. Looks like being a tense finish. O'Brien and Hunter in ruck. Knocked down to the front. Steele gets it. His hand pass hits the ground. Crouch gets a hold of it. A hand pass away to Dunstan. Kicks along the line of the square. A flat ball. Punched down by Butts away from King. Picked up by Higgins through the traffic. Hand pass off to Crouch. Jams it on his boot. A bouncing ball. Butts in the road. His kick touched. Duday gets it. His hand pass okay. Laird. A 15-metre pass finds Sloan, centre of the outer wing.
And just 4 touches early stages of the third term. Rory Sloan trying to get himself into the game. Long kick to half forward. Tex flew early. Hunter collects the loose ball. No kicking roll for him. He hands it away to Howard, who's standing still. Pumps it out of a defensive arc. Ryder collects Sloan. It hits the deck as the ball arrives and the ball skids out of play. A throw in, 70 out from the Crows goal. They got the first 3 inside 50s of the quarter, which is now just 2 minutes old. St Kilda in final terms this year, 5 wins, 7 losses. For whatever that's worth. From the throw-in, Hunter palms it down. Chases after the footy, bowls over Laird. Bottom of the pack, Steele got him high as he came in late. And he's going to get the free kick for it.
Okay.
And a big night, Steele. 30 touches, 17 contested, 9 clearances, 9 tackles and 11 inside 50s. This is Rory Laird, though, to put the Crows inside the forward arc. Kicks deep into the pocket. Highmore leaping back, can't complete the mark. Slips out of play. A throw in forward pocket for the Crows. They're coming home to the scoring end, the city end of the ground at Kazali Stadium in Cairns. The SMS number 0437 774 774. Tom in St Albans says just kick the footy like he did as a kid.
Go on instinct. Don't overthink it. And that's where Tom's going with that. Boundary throw in. Possession taken by Billings. Key's got a hold of him. Ball up. 4 inside 50s Adelaide's way to none to St Kilda in this final term so far. Up it goes. Walker there with Hunter. Walker gathers, hand pass Pinched by Crouch. Soccer's out of defence after he fumbled. Butler picked up, tackled, got a hand pass, hit no one. Seedsman, hands and knees, flips up the hand pass towards the 50. Webster a fumble. It's a slippery ball. O'Brien. Soccer's a fumble from Keys. And then surely Rowe has tackled Sinclair without the ball. Free kick, St Kilda inside defensive 50. Down at the city end of Kazali Stadium. Sinclair with the ball. He chips to left half back and finds Webster.
So Jimmy Webster, 27-year-old, one of 6 lefties in the team tonight for the Saints. He kicks along the boundary line, just pitches inside before sliding out in front of Max King. The rain just come in a little bit too. There was only a 10% chance of rain tonight, and we're in it as the rain starts to fall. Boundary throwing, eastern wing, Kazali Stadium. 87% humidity made it a little scrappy and tough tonight. The Crows within 14 points after trailing by 36 in the third. O'Brien soccers it forward. Berry meets it. Hand pass back in the other direction. Jones attacks the footy inadvertently, kicks it forward. Spills out towards Dunstan, hands it to Hunter. His kick forward dropped. The wet footy put down by Laird. Tackled, lost it. Butts goes back by hand to Duday. High up and under, very wide. Puts it almost over the fence. Certainly over the boundary line. It's out on the fall and Dunstan to take the kick as the shower continues to sweep through and the patrons looking for the poncho. And now there's going to be a conference between the boundary umpire and the field umpire.
It's trying to work out whether this will be a throw-in or out of bounds on the full.
Well, they're saying touched off the boot.
So Dunstan denied his kick, a boundary throw-in. Attacking side of the wing for the Crows, outer side of the ground as the rain continues to fall in Cairns. It was a humid, slippery night as it was. Ryder attacks the throw-in. Knocked it to the side to Dunstan. His hand pass affected by a Laird tackle. Seedsman picks up. He's caught by Steele. Seedsman's had it a while. The umpire watches, waits and calls for a ball up. Same spot. Still the attacking side of the outer wing for the Crows, who trail by 14 points early stages last quarter.
One of the most memorable games in Cairns was that game round 1 2018. The Suns and the Roos, where there's big puddles. There's like a slip and slide to open the season. As Keys comes away from the stoppage, kicks to centre half forward. Rowe collects, hands it back to Keys, takes on the tackler. Hand pass away to Smith. Quick kick inside the forward 50. Just nutmegs Walker. Now a chance for McHenry, forward pocket, collects, runs into trouble, hands it to Sloan. Goes back by hand, but he was taken high. And a free kick to Rory Sloan. 40 metres out at right half forward. He disposed of the footy and a little sloppy, the tackler coming in late. And the Crows skipper's going to get a ping at the sticks.
Well, the Saints can't get it past halfway at the minute, so it is scrappy and there's a lot of mistakes being made now, or more now that the rain has come. But Adelaide got this game by the scruff of the neck.
So Rory Sloan, what a finish! He thumps it through, and the Crows are warm. They've kicked 5 on the bounce to draw within single figures. St Kilda's lead cut to just 8 points. The Saints are 8-9-57. Adelaide 7-7-49. 7 played in the final term. Grandstand AFL, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
It was just a little bit sloppy there from Jack Steele, wasn't it? Yeah, trying to apply the pressure to Rory Sloan. He's really willed himself in his second half after, what did you say, Ali had 4 touches to half-time. Yep. What he's up to now, Rory Sloan up to 14 and kicked that goal. He is one guy who you would want kicking for you after the siren. Very reliable set shot at goal, this bloke. Lifted his rating, which has been really good. Right in the Crows' hands here at the moment. They can jag the next one, keep that pressure going forward. They're every chance here at the moment. The Saints just cannot get it past halfway, as you alluded to, Beach.
From the middle of the ground, O'Brien gets it moving again Adelaide's way. A scrubby kick to centre half forward. Berry had it. Got a hand pass out, but Billings pinched it. Gave to Long. His hand pass out to Steele. It's a soapy ball at the moment. He dropped it. Regathered. Left foot kick around the wing. Skids its way past Butts, and coming the other way is Worrell of Adelaide. His kick straight down the throat of Highmore. Highmore has had, I would say, a minimum 7-8 intercept marks tonight. He's at left half back for the Saints. And he goes out towards the hill wing. In front, King. Off hands. Billings roves to St Kilda. Hand pass taken by Higgins. Higgins goes for territory. Around the body, snap it goes and bounces in front of Ryder. Couldn't take it, paddled it out towards the boundary. Kelly there. He's caught by Butler. That is holding the ball. Free kick, Saints. Crouch plays on. Off to Higgins. He's caught by Hamill. Ball dislodged. Crowd want ball. A chance here for Wood. He's tackled. Great defence from Butts and co. Adelaide survives there. A ball up 30 metres from the St Kilda goal, directly in front. The lead is just 8.
You hope that doesn't come back to bite them.
First entry for the quarter for the Saints, and rather than taking the shot, they took the play on from the restart. Bytel sockers it forward, close to the behind line, and the Crows happy to rush it through. And Brodie Smith kills it over the behind line. Minor score for the Saints, so it's now 9 points their lead, 8-10 to 7-7, 9 played in the final term. A 9-point lead for St Kilda. As McPherson bangs it long from the kick out straight down the pipe. Spills to Schonberg. Hand pass away to Keys. Floats the ball to centre half forward. Over the head of Howard. Up to meet it McAdam. Can't control the wet footy. Rowe does well. Hands it back to McAdam. Chips it short. Fogarty's mark wasn't 15. Told to go at centre half forward. Kicks it across the half forward line. Brodie Smith's got forward. Snaps from 48 out. Kick goes goalward. Right on the behind line. Holding the man, and a free kick to go St Kilda's way. Last line of defence. Thilthorpe hanging on to Howard. And a Saints free kick. St Kilda by 9. 10 minutes into the final term.
Howard between the goal and point post. Down at the city end of the ground. He runs along the boundary line and kicks out to the half-back flank to a pack of about 8. Berry Rose for Adelaide. He snaps back towards the attacking 50. McHenry comes out, can't mark. Burns got it. He barreled it and was bumped as he did so. King with a good mark. Opposed to Butts. A one-grab mark in the wet conditions. Defensive side of the wing, broadcast side for the Saints. His kick to half forward. Worrell a hand to it. No mark. Butler Rose fends away from Kelly. Approaches the 50. Dink kick. Higgins gets a hold of it. Kicks out in front of Butler. Kelly getting back under pressure. Seedsman there. Paddles it through for a minor score. And the margin is 10 points to the Saints. They're clinging on at the 10, nearly 11-minute mark of the last.
They've had only 2 inside 50s for the quarter. They've scored behinds from both of them. Both of them rushed. 10-point lead now for the Saints. Sloan marks the kick out. Long ball down the western wing. Thilthorpe had it thumped off his chest. Follows up for Adelaide. Hooks the kick down to half forward. Rowe can't get rid of Bradley Hill, who wins the footy off the back flank for the Saints. Short kick back down the wing. Howard the target. Spills it down to Crouch, though still in St Kilda hands. To Long, to Billings by hand, and he spears his kick along the boundary line. Steele takes the mark. Gives it back to Billings, who keeps on moving. Kicks down to half forward. King in the pack. Whacked away from the back. It doesn't go out. Seedsman keeps it alive for Adelaide. Long ball back down the wing, and a chest mark the way to go as the rain continues to fall, and Dougal Howard with the intercept mark. Saints by 10 points, 12 played final term.
St Kilda with 20 intercept marks in this game to 11. The kick goes around the boundary line. Out of side, good hands. Mason Wood rises and takes the mark. Slightly the attacking side of the hill wing. Mason Wood with a couple of goals to his name. Both of them came in the first quarter. Long ball inside the 50. Higgins presents. Got it! Higgins marks in front of McPherson. And all St Kilda fans hope and pray.
Hold their breath.
He's had a shot for goal tonight that looked good off the boot and hit the post. Coming off 1 goal 6 last week. Higgins with a million thoughts running through his head. He comes in charging towards goal, slams it on the boot and pushes it hard right. Another behind to Higgins. And the margin for St Kilda is 11 points. And there is a serious mental issue with Higgins and his goal kicking at the moment. That looked anything but a confident man. The margin's still under 2 goals here. Adelaide definitely close enough, if good enough, at the 13-minute mark of the last.
He missed 3 set shots in the final quarter last week against the Swans. Max King missed the other. They went 3-4 in the final term against the Swans. 3 straight behinds for the Saints here. There's a free kick here to Tex Walker, who was pushed in the marking contest. At centre half back. He loads up and kicks his drop punch 60, 70 metres to centre half forward. Out the back it slips to St Kilda's way. Howard to Caulfield. Surge kick straight onto the chest of Bytel, and that was just good fortune for the Saints. It's Mason Wood, in fact, who marks at half back. He goes wide to Higgins, drops a chest mark of his own, closed down by McPherson. Clever kick along the boundary line. Chasing after it, Butler makes another 35 metres. And the ump says, chuck that in. Eastern wing.
Remember Michael Simons at Essendon? That's who Higgins reminded me of kicking at goal before. He sprinted in as fast as he possibly could.
Deuce gloves? Did he still wear the double gloves?
Boundary throwing out side of the ground. Hunter and O'Brien. O'Brien the tap down. He's had a pretty good night in the ruck for Adelaide. Picked up by Webster. His kick smothered. Sloane skids a kick forward. The territory battle. Sloane's onto that. Rowe picks up in traffic. Great hand pass to Schonberg. Kicks inside the 50. McHenry. Oh, he dropped the mark under perceived pressure. In the pocket. Keys gets it. Left foot snap. 35 out. Didn't have the carry. Thilthorpe. Oh, he's just dropped the juggling mark on the line. Held. Free kick Adelaide. A metre out directly in front. Dougal Howard is beside himself. He cannot believe the decision. Adelaide will be within 5 points. Thilthorpe. All the youngsters were involved in that play and Thilthorpe puts it through. Crows within 5 points. 15-minute mark, final term on Grandstand AFL. They have just not gone away all night. 8-12-60 to 8-7-55.
Thilthorpe was trying to claim the mark. Had nothing to do with the free kick, and then when we heard the whistle we thought he'd paid it. So it's Adelaide are doing their best though. You still got the momentum. It was a bit of a battle through the middle of the ground there, and it's literally being played like wet weather footy. I think the rain's stopped, but it's oh no, it looks like the lens is still some rain coming down. So here we see the replay of the free. I'm not sure
where did he grab him?
Where did he see that from? Honestly. It's fair to say that he's a young umpire.
Adelaide.
It's like a fingernail on the shoulder.
So Thilthorpe with his second, all of a sudden now 6 straight goals for the Crows. St Kilda kick 3 behinds at one end. Adelaide go down the other, score a goal, and now it's back to a 5-point game.
Thank you, boys.
I've mentioned this a few times during the night. The Crows haven't been this close since they scored. They didn't even register even a point in the game until the second turn. And that was about 7 minutes or so in from the restart back in the middle. McHenry links up here with Keys. Kicks deep forward for Adelaide again. Howard whacks it back in the other direction. Berry soccers it to his own advantage. Tries from the pocket to soccer it through. He misses to the near side. Trying to just hack it off the deck from the right forward pocket. A minor score. St Kilda's lead cut to just 4. 8-12 to 8-8. 16 and a half played in the final term.
Howard's going to bring the ball back into play for the Saints. And the Crows fans at Kazali Stadium in Cairns can sense their side is a real chance here. Kick goes to the back flank through the hands of Mason Wood. It goes out of play and will be thrown. We've had so many stoppages tonight. The ball just skidding through hands out of play or off the ground, skidding over the boundary line.
I think we just answered the question about the hard hats in your first quarter there, Al. It's RSE, the sponsor of the Saints. I think they've been handing them out for free.
Ambush marketing, hey?
There you go.
So boundary throwing out side of the ground. And where do you reckon it ended up again? Taken back over the boundary line. It's been a bit of a stoppage fest, but it's a tight one. 4 points the lead to the Saints. Adelaide has not led at any stage. We're at the 17-minute mark of the final quarter.
They failed to run down the Pies on their home patch last week. Adelaide had plenty of opportunities. They got some momentum here and a boundary thrown inside their forward 50. The ruckman O'Brien goes down. No free kick. Spills to McKay. He's wrapped up. Bytel takes him into the turf. And a ball up just inside the boundary line. 60 out from the Crows' goal. They've won just one of their last 8, Adelaide. And that was a 1-point win over the team that nobody else has beaten in the Melbourne Demons. In a controversial finish there. Both rucks involved. Both rucks held off it. The umps picked a free kick. It's going O'Brien's way. Held off it by Hunter. 70 out can put the Crows inside forward 50. Bounces off Hill's chest. Follows up at ground level. Hand pass out to half-back. McKay chopped it off momentarily. No clean pick-up. Schonberg eventually hands it out to McPherson. Kicks to the top of the goal square. It's punched through. And a rush behind as Howard and Highmore collide in the air. They got a fist on it, though. Then a minor score. So a 3-point game. St Kilda lead at 8-12 to 8-9. 18.5 played final term.
The Saints, they don't have a sniff at the minute.
No, they don't look like it, do they?
They have to literally kick a goal or score or something against the tide. Like they can't get their hands on the ball. It's just coming in relentlessly for their defenders. They're doing a good job to stand up. And it's only becoming harder because of the conditions. It's still raining.
Kick into the back flank. Almost all the players on the ground were over on that hill side of the ground and congregating near the half-back flank. A mess of players. And it's off hands and over the boundary line as Brett Ratton on the bench has cast a bit of a worrying figure at the moment. He's looking at a level of high stress, understandably. Still the Saints lead. Billings from the stoppage. Got a hand pass out. Laird in the road. His hand pass missed the target. Dunstan soccers once, twice and a third time. And then it ricochets off butts over the boundary line. Another throw in, but the Saints have advanced it a few metres. It's St Kilda's defensive side of the outer wing. The Saints by 3, 8-12 to 8-9. 19-minute mark of the last quarter. The Saints with 5 wins for the season. The Crows with 4.
Adelaide was scoreless until 5 minutes into the second term. Saints kicked the first 5 goals. Adelaide have kicked 8 of the last 11, including 6 unanswered goals here to draw within 3 points. As we tick into time on in the last. From the boundary throw-in, we've got a ball up. Another stoppage between wing and half forward for the Crows. Both rucks miss it. Crouch bottom of the pack. Hands it to Dunstan alongside him. They're in trouble. The Saints are caught holding the ball. Almost a team decision as Dunstan and Crouch wouldn't release. And it'll be a free kick for the Crows. And Rory Laird tried to hold down the St Kilda player on the mark for Keys to take the advantage. Kick comes back to Keys into a crowded forward 50. Thilthorpe palms it down. McAdam had it, lost it, comes out. Long holds it in. Umpire lets them play. Backdoor from the pack. Schonberg gets free. Gets boot to ball. High up and under. Top of the goal square. Howard knocks it down. Hill wants the safety of the boundary line. And McAdam in the end happy to see it over. A boundary throw in. Forward pocket for the Crows. They're coming with a full head of steam at the moment. And the Saints need something dramatic to try and halt the momentum. Despite the fact St Kilda lead by 3. 21 minutes into the last.
3/4 of the time that's elapsed in this last quarter has been played in Adelaide's attacking half, and it's staying there as Caulfield's tackled and the ball spills out of play again. 25 metres from the Adelaide goal. Left forward pocket. St Kilda 8-12-60. Adelaide 8-9-57.
Well, stat to reflect their dominance is 13 inside 50s to 4th. For Adelaide, in favour of Adelaide this quarter.
Hunter gets it clear from the ruck contest. A bouncing ball through half-back. King there. Knocked away by Butts. Burns goes in hard, as does Jones. No one can pick up the slippery ball. Jones eventually does. Hand pass to Schonberg. His kick smothered. Spills to Laird. Kicks into the pockets. In front. Howard couldn't mark. Thilthorpe had it. Tackled by Wilkie. Lost it. Diving at the legs. Crouch might have given away a free kick here. No. It's a high. So that could have gone either way. Crouch is being collected high. Equally, I thought you could make the case for diving at the knees. It's a St Kilda ball in the right back pocket.
And Crouch is retreating. He goes back to the last line of defence for Howard. They're well set up. All the yellow jumpers in good position. And they're going to try to switch the Saints out to the fat side. Short kick to Wilkie. Short kick further afield to Highmore. He's got Long outside the defensive arc, and he takes a mark too from a short kick. Long's just going to load up on the barrel. He kicks a torp towards Higgins. Higgins hugs it to his chest and takes a chest mark. Stand now. One-on-one with Duday. Higgins wins the one-on-one. And a low percentage kick up to halfway. And waits for numbers to get forward for the Saints. Higgins Long with the contest, kick out the left, half forward, Ryder over the back, can't pull it down. Schonberg, hand pass away to McPherson, kicks it back down the wing. A little nudge from Highmore, straight into the back of Fogarty, and he'll get the free kick on the wing for Adelaide. Saints by 3 points, 23 played final term.
The crowd highly engaged in Cairns, leaning over the fence, bellowing for their teams. Kick goes inside the attacking 50. Crouch at the back for St Kilda, trying to find the boundary line. McKay there with him. And it does go over. Right forward pocket for Adelaide.
I wonder if that's in their playbook, Lids, to kick a torp off your half-back flank to a one-on-one down the line.
It'd be very interesting to know that, wouldn't it? Be a good question to ask them if the Saints do get up after the game.
Message one of your journo mates that are up there at Corbs and get him to ask that after the game.
Tossed in, Ryder knocks it down in front. Laird going through, picks up near the boundary, hand pass towards McHenry, just stays in play near the goal line, paddled through by Hill. He was under pressure, just like his side. St Kilda clinging on by its fingernails to a 2-point lead. 8-12-60 to 8-10-58. 24 played final quarter. Adelaide scoreless in the first term, has not led all night, but looks the more likely winner.
Last 3 scores, Adelaide behind. A couple of them rushed. St Kilda by just 2. They're running out of just a bit of leash to work with. They haven't looked like they're going to score as Howard goes on a bit of a run, taps it on the turf, whacks it long, spills down off hands to Steele. Hands it to Hill, kicks a 50-metre drop punt down the wing, but there's no one there. Duday for the Crows, hand pass away to Chase Jones, pumps it back in the other direction. O'Brien reaching for it, can't mark. Caulfield goes to ground. Schomburg keeps his feet and wins the footy. Hand pass to McKay, high up and under inside 50. Fogarty flies, no mark. Philthorpe there. Hand pass to McHenry, got it away to Walker. Volleyball spikes it into the pocket, but Howard chops it up for the Saints. The 1-2 with Bradley Hill.
Hill gives it back and Howard clears the defensive 50 off Seedsman's chest. It rumbles back inside the 50 and there's a free kick to McKay, who's taken high. David McKay of Adelaide, 45 metres from goal, 45-degree angle to the right. A chance to put Adelaide in front for the first time at the 25-minute mark of the last. Hand pass to Seedsman. He was all on his own, on the fly. He's lethal from here. It didn't quite have the carry. Howard, a hand to it, perhaps a fingernail to it. Like the clinging on that St Kilda is doing at the moment. A 1-point lead to the Saints. They have been in front for 118 and a half minutes of this contest.
There's a long time to go still in the game. 26 minutes travelled in the final term. And the Saints have no more room to move on the scoreboard. They lead by just a point. Wilkie marks the kick out at half-back, goes long down the line and off hands. It's out of play. A throw-in on the eastern wing.
Well, I think the Saints are going to have to worry about someone kicking the winning goal. They can't get it down there. They have to kick a torp from 70.
Last 6 in the game, kicked by the Crows. Boundary throw-in. Must be torture for St Kilda fans. Feels like it's happening in slow-mo. And the Crows trying to convert this final term momentum that they couldn't last week. Berry attacks the footy, edge of the stoppage. Can't get it away. Crouch pumps it forward. Battle becomes the tackle on Hamill and it lingered, as did Loney's on Duday. Ball still on the deck. Duday collects. Hand pass to Dunstan. Had the blinkers on. Somehow got it away. Battles hand pass along the boundary line. Billings got it over his shoulder to Steele. Pumps it forward. No one there for the Saints. And Kelly will keep it alive. Back pocket for the Crows.
Kicks to centre half back for Adelaide. McKay. Short to the middle of the ground to Schomburg. On the edge of the centre square, he marks and rolls. Kicks Adelaide to centre half forward. Walker there. He's edged out. Hill goes through. Tackle dispossessed. Holding free kick. A lingering tackle. Gee. That's an interesting decision. Just as Adelaide had come up with it as well. Hill kicks out to the back flank and the Saints will try and work it around the wing. Hill's short kick. Went off hands and over the boundary line. On the wing. Seconds precious. St Kilda trying to milk them down, not looking like scoring. Adelaide 1 point down, doing all the scoring. Inside 50s, 17-5 in this final term.
Majority of the term played completely in Adelaide's front half, as those numbers suggest. Ryder wins it down. Schomburg squeezes a kick forward. Jones clever, palms it to Sloane's advantage. Run down by Steele. Got a hand pass forward. Berry had it, lost it. Spills out to Laird. Numbers with the Crows, 70 out. Laird kicks hurriedly to the pocket. Philthorpe and Howard. Philthorpe tackled without the footy. Howard takes him to ground. Philthorpe had lost the ball. And Riley Philthorpe will get the free in the right forward pocket for the Crows.
He's a well put together kid, this bloke, isn't he?
Monster.
His ability to stand up there against Dougal Howard, who's a seasoned campaigner, very, very impressive. Wait till he actually grows into that body of his.
He's lining up for a drop punt, right forward pocket, pressed up against the fence. Just his 8th game, Riley Thilthorpe. His kicks across the goal face. He rubs his eyes. He's failed to score. He's put it out on the full from one pocket to the next. He needed just a point to lock it up. St Kilda still lead by 1. 8-12 to 8-11. Thilthorpe fails to score.
Riders up over the pack, and the kick in, knocks it towards the boundary. Berry gets it, runs into battle. And Wood, he's tackled. A stoppage. 70 metres from goal.
It's probably every time to kick a banana. It's them. What's going through their heads?
Led near the boundary line from the stoppage. Brendan Goddard's giggling. I'm not sure too many others with Saints blood in their hearts would be doing the same.
Perfect.
Sorry, Al. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to almost kick the inside out drop punt, but if it's wind assisted, just hanging out there in front of goals.
Boundary throw in 60 from the Adelaide goal. They trail by a point, the Crows. And Crouch has taken possession. Dunstan in, tackled. Another stoppage.
We had 2 draws last year before round 13. We haven't had one yet this season. Saints by a point. Less than 2 minutes on the clock from the stoppage. Seedsman hurried kick forward. Long tries to clear off half-back led. Hands it out towards Keys. High ball right to the goal line for the Crows. Thilthorpe down there again, close to the boundary line. Schomburg's out of play. He slips over the boundary line and a throw-in. Left forward pocket for Adelaide.
These two sides have only ever played in one draw. 1994 at Waverley Park. Toss back into play. 20 metres from the Crows' goal. Walker tapped it down. Ryder took it. His clearing ball into the back of Webster. Thilthorpe over his head. Goes through for a goal. You couldn't possibly conjure a more miraculous way to put the Crows in front for the first time all night. What a fight back from Adelaide. St Kilda had led the game for 123 minutes. Thilthorpe kicked the ball over his head through the major opening from 15 metres out. The most extraordinary passage of play you'll see. The Crows are in front, and we have a minute to play in Cairns.
Wow. Extraordinary. What is...
Just when you think this game wasn't going to throw us up anything, Riley Thilthorpe just bangs it on over his head. Perfectly called out. Well done, mate. That was awesome. Well done, Riley Thilthorpe. There's the agility from the big bloke. This bloke's 200 centimetres, just bangs it over his head. No worries, drops it through.
Kicked it from about 12 metres out. It landed still a metre short of the goal line. No one was there and bounced through. Crows by 5. They lead for the first time tonight. Back in the middle, Dunstan tries to soccer it forward. Can't do so. Sinclair went without it. Fends off one. Hand pass wide, ends up in Laird's hands. Turns and kicks it up to half forward for the Crows. McAdam and Webster chase after the footy. Close to the boundary line. Webster soccers it towards the line inadvertently. And a boundary throw-in. 41 seconds left on the game clock. Time in front tonight. The Saints over 123 minutes. And Adelaide have only led after that kick from Riley Thilthorpe, his 3rd of the night in just his 8th game. Crows by 5, 32 minutes into the last.
It's been an extraordinary final quarter from Adelaide. Can they hang on? Laird from the stoppage. Wobbly kick inside the 50. Out they come. Thilthorpe again. He couldn't take the mark. It's offhands over the boundary line. The seconds ticking down. Such high hopes for the Saints at the start of the season. This will have them in a true state of despair if St Kilda can't find a way to rush it up the other end and find a goal. Punch down inside the attacking 50 for Adelaide. McAdam farmed it out to Rowe. He's taken high. Free kick against Steele. There was a hint of dropping at the knees, but enough there to win the free kick for Rowe. Directly in front, perhaps just to the right of centre. 35 out, he'll have the last kick of the game. Seconds ticking down. The siren is about to sound. Adelaide has pulled off a miraculous fight back. Thilthorpe with a miraculous goal. that clinches victory for the Crows. And now just the margin. James Rowe to determine that. Another one of their youngsters scoreless at quarter time. Adelaide has only led this game for 2 minutes all night. And Rowe to put the full stop on it for Adelaide. A behind, but a memorable victory for young and emerging Adelaide. The Crows claim their 5th win of the season in the most dramatic circumstances in Cairns. Brilliant fight back. The Crows by 6.
Known as the Adelaide Crows, we're courageous, stronger, faster, and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation, our determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
9-12-66 the Crows. St Kilda 8-12-60. St Kilda had led this game for 123 minutes. The Crows hit the front at the 31-minute mark of the final term with a youngster, a player with immense potential whose Crows fans are so excited about. He kicked the ball over his head to put Adelaide in front at the 31-minute mark for the first time, and they go on to win by 6. Pride's a good word to sum it up. The Crows showed plenty of it. How proud their fans will be tonight after that. The goal kickers for Adelaide, Riley Philthorpe, the hero. 3 goals tonight, the only multiple goal kicker for the Crows. Singles to Sloan, Walker, McKay, McAdam, Rowe and Smith. While for the Saints, 2 goals to Wood, 2 goals to King, singles to Crouch, Butler, Burns and Sinclair. It's a night of celebration for Adelaide, but another night that really tells the story of St Kilda's season. It has been an utter, unmitigated disaster. 9-12-66 Adelaide, St Kilda 8-12-60.
5-8 on the season for Adelaide. This time last year they were 0-13. But what a turnaround for Matthew Nix and his side. The Saints joined them at 5-8. And the big thrill, Riley Philthorpe has arrived. 3 goals in his 8th game. He kicked 5 on debut. He was really the first overall pick. He was the first unprotected selection in the national draft after Ugelhagen, of course, went to the Western Bulldogs as an academy pick at 1. The Crows got him at 2. He's the kind of club cornerstone figure, Lids, that you can build the whole show around, and what a way to win the game. He misses a drop punt in the forward pocket, kicks it straight across the face, gets a moment, just minutes later, and kicked it over his bonds to win it.
Amazing, wasn't it? What I love about it, though, Corbs, is he kept presenting and wanted the moment. Like he wanted to be a part of this last quarter heroics for the Crows. And it wasn't just him. There's another young bloke in Schoenberg who won a heap of the footy as well in that last quarter. And then there was more seasoned guys in Laird and Keys that were really drivers, and Sloan to a certain extent as well. Those guys are the ones that continued to push forward. Riley O'Brien gave them first use in the middle. But just their ability to keep pressing forward and come home with that wet sail. We've spoken about it, though, that they are very strong in their last quarters. So it was that's a great win, isn't it? But it's so good for a young bloke to see have his shot, completely butcher it, put it out of bounds on the full, but then get his chance again and butter up and kick a miraculous goal. And it won't be probably goal of the year, but it'd be right up there in terms of context, I would have thought, of a game as to how special that goal is. So great win for Adelaide, but I'm not sure about the old saying as they're it's about season done, I would have thought, if it wasn't already before this weekend.
We'll get to the Saints, but Beach, that they're winning, in Adelaide in particular. So 6-point victors, 9-12 to 8-12, but scoreless 5 minutes into the second quarter to turn that around. They kicked the last 7 goals of the game after falling behind by a game-high 36 points early in the third term. What a finish by this young team, and something they can really build on from here.
Yeah, we highlighted what they brought to most games this year at the, leading into the game. We actually didn't see that for arguably a quarter and a half, and then after that it was a tale of two halves, really. It was all about St Kilda. They managed just to get a couple just before half-time. It's always a good feeling knowing that you've been going so bad, then you're just able to get on the scoreboard, and you're arguably still within reach then, even though they'd played so poorly. As we said, that third quarter been their worst quarter all year. To go out and then win that, we said that, use that cliche, just win the quarter. But that just gives you a chance and keeps you within arm's length, which they did. And then the last quarter was just like, it was just a sea of Adelaide Crows across the field. St Kilda had no answers. It looked like it was just the same. It was the same old stuff. They didn't try anything. The backs are running the pump. It's always harder now, Lids, to get a +1 behind the ball when you're on the siege. But the rain came, so it made it even harder just to keep standing up and try and get a score on the ball for St Kilda, or try and wrestle or get that momentum on an even keel, because that probably involves a bit of kick mark, slow it down, long down the line, which we didn't see the long down. You can still do that in wet conditions, but you're obviously restricted with that kick mark game you can play due to the conditions. So it was... I think I said it a number of times during the game, or leading into the game, it's gone from bad to worse for St Kilda. And tonight, after losing last week, having the opportunity against Sydney on the road, that would have been a great win. Sydney, at their best when they play well, a really good team, so that would have been a really good scalp to let that go, and then come here tonight with being so convincing in the first 50 minutes of footy, and then where? Where do the players' heads go at half-time, thinking, yeah, we're in a comfortable position here, 35 points up at one stage. Adelaide, let's be honest, have been really average. We're just kind of cruising here. Is it going to be a cruisy run? Start filling our boots. May mention Dunstan trying to kick torps. Ben Long trying to kick a torp off half-back flank to a one-on-one. Loney kicking a banana from 35 out in a side angle. Jeez, I don't know. It's staggering. It's almost a pattern of behaviour. So I think you have to be concerning all us Saints people.
So 5-8 now the Saints. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games as they hit the bye. So I'll come back to Melbourne and then reload thereafter. Round 15, they've got Richmond, Collingwood and Brisbane, their next 3 after the bye. Adelaide, they'd won 1 of their last 8 coming in. That was against Melbourne. They're a fascinating team this season. I don't think many people had high hopes for the Crows coming in, where they finished last year, only won 3 games, and all them were on the back end of the season. In the same position last year, going into the bye, they were 0-13. They're now 5-8. There's an interesting sort of breakdown where if you look at the top 5 teams in the league this year against the bottom 10, they're 31 wins and 2 losses. So there's only two occasions where one of the top 5 teams have lost to a bottom 10 side. And on both occasions, it was Adelaide. Adelaide beat Melbourne and they beat Geelong.
Cats, yeah.
So they've got wins over really high-quality teams, and tonight they run a side down in St Kilda, obviously a top 6 team from last year that are playing below that level here in Cairns. But all of a sudden, there's a bit to like about the Crows. They play an exciting brand, and now they're starting to get some reward for it as well at 5-8.
Yeah, absolutely, Coles. I think they're... Well, I thought they were more of a tackle pressure team like that, and they based it on their energy in and around the footy. But, I mean, the Saints out-tackled them by a big margin.
100 tackles for the Saints.
Yeah, 100 tackles for the Saints, only 59 for the Crows. But it was... What I felt like it was just the Saints' inability, especially in that second half, to win critical contests, and especially from their forwards, they lost their way a little bit. They just couldn't win those balls, to be able to... keep the ball going in their forward half. And I understand, it is a height thing probably for them, that they haven't got the big targets other than King, who is down there. Who's the next one? I would have thought Battle, could you get a little bit more out of him as a half forward? Just create some contests, maybe win a few ground balls. He's not a ginormous bloke where he can't win it below his knees. But then you've got Butler and Higgins, and they're just fighting out of their weight division. Anyone's a bit taller than them. Contest lost, and then it goes back into Adelaide's favour again. So Yeah, look, mate, I think, but for the Crows, it's just you just have to be wrapped for Matty Nix and the boys who written off Tex Walker before the season. He was done. Rory Sloane's getting older, but we're seeing some guys just play some really good footy, and as you said, they're exciting to watch.
From where they were too, that imagery of them in the rooms, just watching them in the rooms now, excuse me, and the smiles on faces compared with Rory Atkins moving drink bottles around as Matthew Nix was trying to explain to his players some of the basic fundamentals of team structure, and you can see what they're starting to do now. Rory Sloane, you picked up in that last quarter, BJ, his influence on the game. He'd had the 4 possessions in that first half of football. He finishes with 18 and lids as well, and a timely smother late in the game that helped create that opportunity for Thilthorpe. Really came to the fore late for the Crows.
Yeah, and I saw there was a stoppage, and he was yelling out to everyone that would listen all around, saying, keep your feet, stand up, don't go to ground, because you could see that the Saints were trying to lock it up to not allow the ball to get out. He said, everyone stand up. Just great leadership, and an experienced player that just can understand the situation and just spread that to all the younger players that are around.
That's what I was going to say. It's a lesson for all the younger players from Adelaide in particular, or anyone else watching, that I used to get harped on when I was younger about you still have an influence in the game regardless of how you've gone prior to that position. So for him, it was he was having a really poor night to his standards, what we expect from him and know from him. But then to identify the situation, have the experience to go, well, yeah, I can still influence this game. And to do so is another thing, but just to have that belief, because a younger player would be sitting there with his head down, thinking of stinking night, thinking about results, thinking about how poor he is, probably thinking about his position in the team, but just to stay in the moment and identify it. And he was, I'm pretty sure he was next to Steele, or accountable for Steele for most of the night when Steele pulled his pants down for 3 quarters. So he had a lot going against him, but just to have the influence he did, which he's a great player, we know that, and has been for a very long time.
The Crows are won up by 6 points. They kicked the last 7 goals in the game. They were scoreless at quarter time. They conceded the first 11 scoring shots of the night. It was St Kilda by 36 points 5 minutes into the second, and then by the same margin about 5 minutes into the third term before the Saints did not kick another goal. The Crows rattled off the last 7 to win by 6 points. They led for, a minute all night after trailing for the first 123. It looked as if the Saints were going to hold on wire to wire, but Adelaide through Riley Thilthorpe, the second overall pick in the national draft, the 18-year-old, kicked one over his head from 12 metres out, top of the goal square, to give Adelaide the lead and ultimately the win. Let's head inside the Adelaide rooms and celebrate with the winners. So the Crows by 6 points. They get themselves to 5-8, second year under Matthew Nix. In close games, they're now 3 wins and 2 losses. So they've been in 5 games already this year, decided by 10 points or less. St Kilda also in their 4th game of similar consequence. They're 2-2 in those matches. Corbin Middlemass, Alistair Nicholson, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. Lidge, you said after the final siren, just Riley Thilthorpe wanted the moment.
Yep.
You obviously studied the draft classes pretty closely now as your role as a player agent. What can he become, Riley Thilthorpe, as a figure in this Adelaide team?
Oh, well, I think you hit the nail on the head, in that he can be a centrepiece for the Adelaide Crows and be that big key forward that, for whatever reason, they're always the ones that drag all the limelight. You played with one, Beej. I certainly played with one, and then
drag
2.
The limelight
well.
or want the limelight?
Well,
in our 2 instances.
Yeah, a little from column A, a little from column B. But he's someone who you can build your whole forward line around, and then also the way you structure up your whole team. To get someone else, as another couple of key backs maybe, and replenish that midfield. They're going to finish in the bottom half, so they'll top that up again this year. So, mate, he's an exciting prospect. The size that he is already is just what impresses me. And his ability to stand up in contests, but then also want the contest is a very impressive trait for a young player.
Have you done your All-Australian team?
Not yet.
No, yeah, that's coming up tomorrow on Grandstand AFL Sunday from 12 noon. But the interesting debate around who should be the full forward in the All-Australian team. Harry Mackay's kicked the most goals. Tex Walker's having a hell of a year. I know it's sort of, we always use this sort of analysis where we're like, oh, it's the old full forward and the new guy that's coming through to take the keys to the forward line. But what would someone like Riley Thilthorpe get out of playing with Tex, particularly with him in this form, sort of this late in his career or early in Riley's?
I think it's more about, one, how to prepare physically, mentally, but also the forward craft. We've talked about a lot here. These young forwards coming in still trying to play as a forward like they're in the under-18s. Just lead mark, I'll use my athleticism, I'll be fine kind of thing, and kick 4 or 5 each week. And you don't have that luxury. So to learn an actual forward craft is a different thing. And the great forwards that we've seen, and Jack and the Rewalts are great at it, but the great forwards have always had great forward craft. So you've had athleticism, Buddy's one, freak athlete, but you had forward craft to it, and then you've got a formidable force where it's arguably unstoppable at times. Because if you just rely on your athleticism and just pure talent, you're not going to get the job done. One-on-one against some of the defenders, and then 2 against team defences where there's lack of space. So it's about the forward craft to create space and to lead 3 or 4 times before you actually get it. To lead away from the ball, to come back, like all those little things that make little differences that the great forwards do. So little things like that Tex, because Tex isn't a great athlete, let's be honest. He's not quick and all that, or not like the old Thilthorpe. The big thrill.
Is that yours? Have you claimed
it?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty widely.
Is it a self-proclaimed nickname? That'll make it.
You've dropped a few on us this year.
But just ear low to the ground.
But guys, like they haven't had to. Tex hasn't had to rely on athleticism, so he's had to learn a forward craft. So that he would be getting a lot out of it. So that's where people are saying Tex was done last year and this will be his last year, and all of a sudden he's having a great year. But the guys that he's giving the keys to, but they're learning so much off him. It's just not about just kicks, marks, goals for an older guy. It's what they're doing from Monday to Friday at the footy clubbing, helping these guys become better players quicker, because that's what you want.
And that's why you don't write off older players, Beach, and march them out the door,
or quick to.
Yeah, because they can teach these young players so much. They come in, they're gifted in so many different areas, but there's still so much to learn. And I still say to the young blokes now, I learned so much. I thought I knew a fair bit when I first come in, but you learn so much from your coaches, yes, but the older players and how to prepare and how to train, and everything that BJ's just spoken about, especially for forwards, your forward craft.
Yeah, and it's learning, because the coaches can't get to you most of the time at training or in drills and in particular in games. So it's learning on the spot and understanding it, so it's fresh in your mind rather than just learning on a piece of paper and watching footage. It's learning in the moment and at the time in the heat of battle as such that I think you get the best learnings out of.
It was a hell of a breakout, Riley Thilthorpe. They kicked the last 7 goals. He started the run with the first of them 4 minutes into the third quarter, kicked the last 2 of the game, and in between those last 2 had a set shot from the forward pocket to either level the game with a behind or put them in front with a goal, pressed up against the boundary line, right forward pocket, kicked a drop punch straight across the goal face. It went out of bounds on the full. He ended up kicking the winner over his head a few moments later. Talk to me about St Kilda, Beach. So you can't just write off the year now at 5-8. They've got an injury list as long as your arm, 13 players unavailable. There are only 6 other guys on their list that they could have chosen tonight to play in the game. But where to from here? What does Brett Ratten do at 5-8 and a loss like this?
Is that only 6 players to choose from based on who they took up north, or 6 from the 40?
So from the entire squad, they had 3 emergencies tonight, and then only 3 other players, which includes Cat B rookies, a guy from the mid-season draft, and a young developing tall. Okay. So there's not a heap in the cupboard.
Yeah. And their problems started way before that. So let's be real, Saints people, is that let's not sit here and be naive and stick your head in the sand and say, oh, we've got so many injuries and you've just reeled off all their stats. Oh, that's why they're struggling, and there's a lot of younger guys playing tonight. Like, get your head out of your bums. Maybe they're not the team we thought they were last year. They had a free hit at it. Brett Ratten had a free hit at it. It's almost like Andrew Bassett, who I know reasonably well. It's almost like he planted a seed like this year was kind of done with when he started talking, sent that letter out. I loved how he was proactive and felt like he needed to say something, but I didn't feel like it was his place to do it. Felt like it needed to come from Brett Ratten. or someone within the playing group, the captain, Gears, or something like that. But it's almost like that just maybe planted the seed in their mind. Oh, it's a bit of a get out. But we didn't expect to be in the window this year. So you're admitting that last year was a bit of an anomaly or a bit of a fluke kind of thing. And I don't know, it's a weird place. So and then recruiting like they did at the end of last year was like, hang on, well, Andrew Bath, you just said this about potentially being in the window next year and the few years after that, but why have we gone and done this recruiting-wise? And
McKernan and Frawley and Crouch coming in. I mean, Crouch will hopefully be there for
2 years earlier, so it's like kind of contradicting themselves. So it's a bit concerning. So across the field, they're just a shell of themselves last year. Their game, what it looked like it was important to them last year about team defence, about playing the forward half game, about that forward pressure. Or Butler's a perfect example. Like, where's he at? He was 2/3 of the way through last season as the best ball forward in the competition, or halfway through the season, playing his role, fitting into the game plan, and now he's irrelevant now. Respectfully, he can't get a sniff of it, and the ball's not spending enough time in there for him to have an influence. Or Higgins actually played his last week. He was outstanding. We know about the results in front of goal, but he's played his 2 best games for the footy club in the last 2 weeks.
He's working up the ground a lot, isn't he? Getting himself involved.
Yep.
Big centre-half forward.
Yeah, that's right. It's a centre-half forward mentality. So it looks nothing like they did last year. I'm not sure whether they went away from that in the pre-season, shorter pre-season. Yeah, we felt like we're comfortable with where they're at defensively and where we made strides of that, so maybe we can focus on other things. And then I'm not sure. So it's always a hard one because Brett Renton arguably had a free hit, didn't he? Because there was low expectations, arguably, because he took over for the coaching, and then it was his first year last year, so everyone's on cloud nine.
Hadn't won a final for a long time.
Haven't won a final, so they go in, they do well, win a final, and we all had expectations. I think a lot of people had them arguably challenge the top 4, but so maybe they're not where we thought they were. A lot of us thought they were. They're not the team. The balance in the midfield's concerning. Gresham was a huge out, just add that point of difference, speed, but they're much of a much gone and got Crouch. He's finding heaps of the footy, but again, respectfully, he doesn't have a huge influence on the game. He's more of just an accumulator. Steele's a one that can accumulate and have a huge impact, but Dunce is the same, just an accumulator. Doesn't use the ball well.
We're running out of time. A win for the Crows. They kicked the last 7 of the game to win by 6 points. Rapid fire votes?
Oh, jeez.
No. We'll post them online and we'll tell you tomorrow on Grandstand AFL Sunday.
Pinemore's in there, I think.
There's a heap to pull apart. 12 noon tomorrow, ABC Radio. I'll be joined by Brett Delidio and Lauren Arnell to pull it all apart. And then the North Giants game. And following that, it'll be the Tigers and the Eagles. So a big day to come. Thanks to Al Nicholson, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, Stu Baker, Craig Davis downstairs. What a night. A breakout performance for Riley Philthorpe. He kicks the winner in the final minute over his head. The Crows, after being scoreless in the opening term, they run down the Saints, kicking the last 7 to win by 6 points. Earlier, the Dockers by